Hey y'all, this is just a continuation to the video. I know y'all heard at the end of the last clip that the gate was opening, and you may have, even if you listened closely, heard some voices towards the end as I was ending the clip. Some people in my close circle came home, and unfortunately, the room that I stay in now, in this house that we moved to last year, is connected to the front of the house. So my window is right next to the front porch. And so anytime somebody comes in, the noise filters into my room and interferes with anything that I got going on, especially if I'm making a video. Anyways, y'all, this is a whole week later that I'm making this continuation of the last clip. The last clip I'm sorry for the stammering, y'all. They're purposely doing noise campaign outside. I'm hearing one of the bird drones outside. Anyway, the last clip that you just listened to was created a week ago, last Wednesday on the 7th. And as you can see, today is Tuesday. So it took me a week to come back and finish this video, y'all. And actually, this is my second attempt at continuing the video. I made 2 clips earlier, 2 40-minute clips, y'all, separate times that both came out to be about 40 minutes long, where I was just expounding on some of the things that I talked about in the last clip. And the way that I made it earlier was that I was trying to make those clips like preludes to the last clip. So I was going to put them before the last clip. But since both clips ended up compromised for different reasons, and I'm now redoing it again, I decided that instead of making it like a prelude or like a clip that I'm going to attach to the beginning of the last clip you just listened to, I said, let me just finish the video and I can include those things that I wanted to expound on in the continuation of the video. So anyways, so what happened with the first clip I attempted to make earlier, I realized that my Bluetooth was on and my earphones were plugged in. And so the audio was compromised. The second clip, I was just stammering a lot, tired. A lot of noise was going on outside. It's later in the evening now. And so I said, let me just try one more time to do this. And I said, I'm so tired. I don't feel like making all these different clips. Let me just say everything I wanted to say, expound on the things I wanted to expound on, and just finish the video one time and done. So let me go over to my text messages, y'all, and talk about some of the things that I wanted to expound on from the last clip, and then just finish off the video. All right, so you see I put a note that says Wednesday the 7th was when the initial clip was made. Again, that was the last clip you just listened to. That was last Wednesday. And here I am a whole week later, now finishing the video. Before I continue on with where I was at the end of last clip, let me just expound on some things that I talked about that I realized I wanted to clarify or, like I said, go into further detail about, because I didn't like how I worded it, or I just felt like I wasn't clear enough with what I was saying. So at the part where you heard me saying not the agenda, and I couldn't think of what the word was, the word I was looking for was objective. The objective, or the main objective, is to invoke wrath out of the target. I'm not going to go into further detail about that, y'all. I don't want this video to be too long. And both times earlier, like I said, when I was trying to share these clips, the clip that I made, not these clips, excuse me, these points that I wanted to expound on, the whole clip ended up to be about 40 minutes long. I don't want that. I don't want this video to be super long. Just think reactive abuse. The same thing I've been talking about in all of these different videos. You can even scroll down on my YouTube. Let me head there real quick and check out the video I posted about reactive abuse. Quite a while ago, y'all. This video that says targeted individuals are victims of reactive abuse, and you see the thumbnail that looks magenta or whatever color that is, that says baiting with a question mark and psychological abuse, a tactic used to provoke an angry or emotional response. It's designed to incite rage or wrath, i.e. wrath, which is proof that the victim is the one who is crazy / unstable. And so that's what reactive abuse is, really. It's just, I don't have to go into further detail. It's self-explanatory, and I've talked about it in several videos, and I know you heard me talking about it in the last clip. But just these different little tactics that are used, psychological abuse, etc., to get angry responses. And then when you have the angry, egregious reaction, you're gaslit about it, and you're painted as a monster, or you're painted as an angry person, or as a troublemaker, etc., when it's really just a reaction to the abuse that you're receiving. And that's the main tactic used in the targeting in the program. Moving on. The next thing, not targeting the real troublemakers. Mention Gatorade Man. Also a job, correct, that I'm looking for a second job, not another job in general. So let's talk about the first part, not targeting the real troublemakers. I know y'all heard in the last clip when I said that I said it several times. I wanted to show you an example of what that looks like, them not targeting the real troublemakers. Because typically, if you look at the people that are targeted, oftentimes it's people that are even-keeled, even-tempered, introverted, don't really have a history of getting in trouble or a violent past, nothing of the sort. But you're being chased by all these people. You're being surveilled 24/7, treated like Ted Bundy or someone of that nature, when there are people out there who are committing active crimes and not getting not even the slightest bit in trouble for what's going on. And I've said this several times in several videos, and a lot of targets say this. And really it ties back to, now speaking of the agenda, I'm not going to go into details about it, but you can check out the links in the description box in the comment section. As I said, there's an identical set of links in both locations where I link to different videos where I talk about tactics used in the program, technology used, my story, things I've experienced, things I've learned, including what I learned about the agenda of the targeting last year from research. I found out several different things, and there are two agendas really, but the main one, you can find, like I said, the video to it in the description box and comment section, where the Harvard DARPA scientist discusses what the real agenda of this program really is. Basically just propelling the use of the technology, and eventually getting it to a point where everyone is microchipped, etc., etc. I don't need to go into the details about what I found out last year. But anyways, that's really what the agenda of the thing is. So it's not really about threat containment like they say, because they're not really containing threats with this program. Most of the people that they target are not threats, not even slightly. If they were to really target people that were threats, a lot of people would be in jeopardy with the amount of harassment and impeding and sorry, I'm hearing talking in the background and it's distracting me. But with the amount of harassment, surveillance, stalking, impeding of every aspect of your life and interference, anyone would have an angry, egregious reaction, much less for somebody that were truly temperamental or a threat. And I'm using air quotes for that. So they wouldn't really target true threats, because a lot of people's lives would be in jeopardy if they were to target real threats. Let me show y'all a video real quick. As y'all can see, this video I posted 11 months ago. You see the thumbnail, of a lady sitting in front of what looks like aluminum foil. What she had created was some sort of far-away cage with aluminum foil, to protect herself from some of the energy weapons that's utilized on targets. And you can see I titled it, it's titled Gang Stalking Basics with Dr. Horton. Check that video out. It's a really good video. As you all can see, it got 190 views because she's sharing good info in that video. She's coming to her own conclusion of what she believes the agenda of the targeting is. And I'm not going to say she's completely wrong. She's on the right path, but it's a lot deeper than what she's saying in that video. This was just based off of what she had learned while being targeted. But one of the main things she was talking about was the fact that they wouldn't really target true threats. Imagine what would the type of chaos that would ensue if they were to do some of the things that they're doing to targets to somebody that were really unstable or a real threat. Can you imagine the type of explosion that would take place? And so that's what she was talking about in that video. So y'all check it out, man. This is a good video. Anyway, let me continue with what I'm saying though. So because I always say that, I often say that. What they'll do is with the shadow networking software, they'll send me videos in my news feed about these people that were committing like outrageous crimes, like doing the most out in the open and not getting reprimanded for it, not getting in trouble for it, literally walking around scot-free while doing all this crazy stuff, doing the most. They'll purposely send stuff like that to me to antagonize me because oftentimes I am saying that this is what takes place. They're targeting people that aren't even committing crimes, and they're not really targeting true threats. And so to antagonize me, they're oftentimes sending me videos showing people that are committing crimes actively and not getting in trouble for it. So I wanted to show y'all Gatorade Man, somebody they sent to me in my news feed. Y'all, this is Gatorade Man, okay? So they sent this to me in my news feed. As you can see, the bottom says, thief steals from same shop every day until ... And basically, as you can see, his whole face is on the camera. They had even clearer pictures of him. It's like, you know how it is in a gas station. They have cameras all around. And it's one of those popular gas stations. This man was coming in every week just about, at least once or twice a week. The same gas station. It's not even to say he was switching it up. It's not like he had a chain of gas stations where he would switch up the location. Same gas station, and he lived in the area, y'all. And he was coming there often and stealing copious amounts of items out of the store and leaving out. No police surveilling the area. No people stalking or looking out for him. No pictures of him anywhere. Right? Just living his best life. Coming in, stealing a bunch of items and leaving out. This took place for months, y'all. Damn near a year, I believe, from what I saw in the video. And eventually the store owner caught on to what was going on. They surveilled the cameras and stuff. And asset protection eventually caught on to the fact that this guy was coming in there often and stealing and leaving scot-free. And so they kind of now started to look out for his face. So eventually he came into the store one day and one of the store clerks recognized his face and they pressed the button to lock the front door to the gas station. Homeboy had enough time. This is how much leisure this man had. Now they already know his face. They know that he comes in here often and steals copious amounts of things. Steals a copious amount of things, He's in there. They at least now had the wherewithal to lock the front door. No disrespect, because I respect the owner. He's such a kind man and a forgiving man. But at the same time, I'm just trying to show you there are people out there actively committing crimes that might need to be watched, that are living their best life, but they're following around and wasting resources on people who wouldn't even do this. So anyways, so he bust down the door. Like, he had enough time. The cops took, a good while to come. That's to tell you they didn't even have a cop in the area. That's how free up this man was. He had time to kick down the door, take the items that he had collected, and bust up out of the store. And so then eventually the store owner started asking around and asking people around the area, do you know this guy? And showing his picture. And eventually they're like, yeah, that's so-and-so. They knew him and they knew where he lived too. And so they went back to him and basically told him the store owner was looking for him. He went to the store, had the leisure. They didn't even have police go out and look for this man. He went to the store himself and apologized to the owner, right? And apparently he's on drugs or something like that, struggling with drug abuse. The owner gave him a break, said, look, I don't want to send you to jail. Just help me out. Stop, robbing me. Help me out with, do something for me since you took all of this stuff from me. He stayed there for one day, not even a week, not even 2 days, one day, and helped the man stock up the store. And I think he was washing something in the back, maybe washing dishes or something in the back, whatever he was doing. And then he disappeared. And they hadn't seen him for months. And then the owner said he had one relapse where he came in and he did the same thing, stole a bunch of stuff and left out. And then they never saw him again. But that just goes to show, again, not judging him. I don't know what his walk of life is. I dealt with addiction myself in the past. I told y'all in my early 20s, for 2 years, I was a blackout drunk. So I'm never going to judge somebody that's at a low point, especially if it has something to do with addiction. I'm not judging him, but I'm just trying to show you that there are people out there who are actively committing crimes, because one of the false narratives that they tried to paint was that creepy ass narrative that they created from the text had something to do with my addiction. When in all actuality, when I sent the text, I was no longer drinking. I wasn't even addicted at the time when I sent the text message. So it doesn't even correlate, and it was just something that they were trying to connect because they knew of my past as an alcoholic. This is somebody who's currently actively struggling with drug use, and it's leading to poor decisions where he's robbing the same store repetitively and he's not even being targeted. That's why I'm saying it's not really anything like what they make it seem. It's never really what they try to say, like it's about threat containment and all of those things, because typically they're not really containing true threats. There are like active violent offenders out there. I'm not trying to comfort people, because this is what gets me in problems with these videos. I'm kind of loose with my mouth and just trying to advocate for myself and make sense out of nonsense, and then I end up making more enemies because of the things I'm saying. There are people out there who have committed violent crimes and then they turn their life around, repent, whatever, and they don't do it again, right? And so I'm not saying they deserve to be targeted. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying there are people out there that are actively, continuously repeat offenders, you know, and they're not getting targeted. They're not targeting those type of people. They're not targeting people like this. No disrespect to him, because obviously there was some sort of remorse there. He did come and try to help the man stock the store at least one day, came back out of relapse, but then he didn't come back again. But I'm just saying there are people out there that are actively struggling that maybe could use some stern, you know, reinforcement or whatever it is, if you feel like that's what this program does. I just feel like it's so ineffective, this program, and counterproductive, because rather than helping somebody to become better, it makes them worse. It turns them into a monster. But whatever, if this is your understanding of reinforcement, if this is what you felt would work, there are people out there who could actually use reinforcement, and they're targeting people who aren't even committing crimes just because they said the wrong thing or they pissed off the wrong person. And so this was just an example of that, y'all, because they were trying to antagonize me by sending this to me. They're constantly sending me stories like this about people doing the most as far as crime goes, and they're not targeted, and they're out there living their best life. So this is why I had to show y'all this. But anyway, moving on to the next thing, man. Also with job corrected, I'm looking for a second job, not another job in general. It's so repetitive, y'all, because I said all of these things already. This is now the third time that I'm repeating this, because remember, I told you I attempted to make this clip twice earlier. I'm doing it in a different way now, where I'm just making this be the continuation of the last clip, and I'm just expounding on some of those things I talked about in the last clip, and I'm going to finish off what I was saying at the end of the last clip. Earlier, like I told y'all, I was trying to make this thing here that I'm doing now, where I'm just kind of expounding on some of the things that I talked about in the last clip. I was trying to make this a clip of its own and put it before the last clip. I just realized that's stupidness, man. And it's wasting time, and I'm tired, and this is not my third time trying to, you know, do this. So I said, let me just make this the continuation of the last clip and done it one time. But again, I'm saying this, I said this already, but you all didn't hear it, obviously. What I was wanting to expound on was in the last clip, when I was talking about struggling financially and how I'm looking for employment elsewhere, or whatever I said. I don't remember exactly verbatim what I said. I just wanted to make sure that I'm clear that it's not that I'm trying to leave the job that I have now. I'm trying to get a second job, is what I meant when I said looking for employment elsewhere. I'm talking about a second job. I'm used to working multiple jobs. That's typically what I do, 2 to 3 jobs. And then 2, I'm kind of making minimum wage doing the security. It's supplemental income for me. It always has been. Even in college, I did security as a second job. I've always used security as my second job. And that's what I was doing prior to leaving Island. But now it's just my main source of income. And so I'm struggling, man. I'm not making enough. I have so many things, so many commitments and things I'm trying to do, trying to get a vehicle. I got bills to pay. I'm a big grown woman, man. I'm living with my parents. I'm 32. And so it's really just not enough. The job in and of itself, I need a second job. And so that's what I meant. It's not that I'm trying to leave the job that I have. I'm so grateful to have it. And last year I had no job. I had no income. So that's not what it is. I just wanted to make sure that I'm very clear that I'm trying to get a second job. I'm not trying to get a whole new job altogether now. And so that's all I wanted to clarify. Next thing. That's what I was trying to say before going off on tangent about being tired. Oh, wrong part. Okay, this part. When I say I'm sorry that I sound exasperated, y'all. I am tired, first of all, it's later. I did get a call from the supervisor a little while ago that none of us, speaking of work, none of us are supposed to report to post tonight because there's a hurricane coming. So I am going to at least get to rest tonight and whatever else. But at the same time, I still feel exasperated sitting here making these videos. Exasperated sitting here I do feel exasperated. Sorry, I heard noise outside in the hallway, y'all. Y'all probably heard it too on the video. Hold on a second, y'all. All right, so let me continue, y'all. Sorry about that. Um, what it is remember I told y'all I have siblings that are home for the summer. Well, actually, one graduated from college now, so it seems like his hair. I don't know if it's permanent, temporary. I don't know what's going on. He seems he's back and forth on what he's trying to do. But then the other brother's here for the summer. I mean, summer's pretty much over. He's supposed to be leaving soon, but both of them are still here on island. And they play basketball. They're older, they're young, like a decade younger than me in their early 20s. But they do have something here on island called Man League, where basically like adult guys can play basketball, similar to like what you did in high school or if you played college ball, but it's older guys that aren't in school. And so they have a game tonight, and that's what the noise outside is about. It seems like some of the people in my close circle are going to the game. A lot of us play basketball in this house, y'all. Remember I told y'all I play basketball too. So, it's just something that runs in the family. Not even just specifically basketball. Sports in general, athleticism, etc. Anyways, let me finish what I was saying though, y'all. Hold on a second. Let me let this drive by real quick. Anyway, y'all, let me finish what I was saying though. Sorry for the distraction. So this next part, when I say they're the cause of it, examples, Jim from bus. Oh, guy. Oh, whoa. I'm sorry. I'm having trouble reading my own freaking notes, right? Guy from bus and guy from the gym, dating life impeded. So when I was talking in the last clip about my dating life being impeded and how they kind of gaslight you about what they're the cause of, like I said, the analogy cut you off at the knees and then gaslight you about not being able to walk. I just want to expound further on that and give y'all an example. So the other morning when I was at work, this is like 2 weeks ago, wee hours of the morning, right? It was like 2 or 3 in the morning, or maybe 4, like wee hours. I worked the night shift, y'all. Excuse me, with the shadow networking software. They sent me a video about this girl. I think it was one of these reality TV shows I like to watch, talking about how she couldn't keep a man or she couldn't get a man or whatever the case was. She was having trouble in her dating life. They're going to antagonize me. You know how they tag team you? It'll be like the shadow networking. So it's on your phone, right? Whatever you're watching getting programmed into your brain. Then the external gang stalkers will either do noise campaign or they'll fly like the insect drone in your face to kind of pound in the programming. So when they said that, the insect drone flew in my face. And so instantly I put on my video that I created. I think I made that video like 2 months ago at this point, called Kisses to My Exes, where I literally just showed y'all like a handful of guys that I had dated prior to my targeting, because they're constantly trying to come for me on tear me down, constantly calling me thirsty because I'm doing regular everyday stuff that I've done my whole life, like working out, playing basketball, getting dressed, apparently combing my hair is being thirsty. Like, I kid you not, me breathing is being thirsty at this point. Like, they're just doing it to antagonize me at this point. It's ridiculous, right? But every little thing that I do now, they're purposely trying to insinuate thirst, right? This is why I made the song, the poem Thirst, or Thirsty, whatever. Check it out, y'all. It's on my BandLab. Do I have it posted on YouTube? I can't even remember if it's posted to my YouTube or not, but it's definitely on my BandLab. So check out my BandLab, y'all. But it's just hilarious. It's just one of those things where trying to get you to believe like a lie about yourself and also make you feel low on yourself. But one of the main tactics that they also use on all targets, this is a universal tactic, is coming for your self-esteem and trying to tear you down and make you feel low on yourself. And so for me, that's one of the specific to my targeting tactics that they use, is insinuating that I can't get a man and that I'm thirsty, right? Or thirst, right? All this crazy shit. That's not true, by the way. And they know it's not true, but they're going to make sure that it's true. Like, this is the crazy thing where they'll impede certain parts of your life and to make sure that it's impeded too. And then they'll gaslight you about it. And so I just wanted to give an example of what I mean when I say impeding certain parts of your life. Like, for instance, the dating part. One example I can give, and this has happened with several guys that have spoken to me, by the way. I'm just pointing out 2 instances that have happened recently where I was at the bus stop. I've talked to several bus stop employees. They're very nice. They're very kind, down to earth. A lot of them that I've spoken to. Regular conversation, y'all. And so there's this one guy that I went to school with back in the day that recognized my face from me catching the bus all the time now, trying to get home. He recognized my face, and so he one day was asking me about whatever he was asking me about, kind of just like he recognized my face from school. And so we were talking about basketball. The man didn't ask me for my number. He didn't hit on me. He didn't compliment me. He didn't say anything inappropriate. He wasn't licking up his lips. He wasn't checking me out. He was acting like a regular person that's making conversation, gregarious conversation, right? And we just started talking about sports because he used to play basketball back in the day, and so did I. And so one time he came to talk to me, and the conversation just carried on a little bit longer than usual. Oh my God, these people, I wasn't going to make a video about it, but I did eventually talk about it in one of my videos. And now I'm talking about it now just as an example to show you what I mean when I say they will impede a certain part of your life and then gaslight you about what's taking place. So him and I were talking about sports and stuff, regular conversation. They started to rev by. They didn't like the conversation. They started revving by, right? They felt like that wasn't getting through enough, right? That wasn't enough of, I don't know, I felt like they felt like they weren't breaking into his brain hard enough. So then they started to, a lot of them too, like drive by. So they're so involved with what's going on with me, and they don't even realize that it's strange. And me saying that now I'm being a narcissist, they'll gaslight it like I'm being a narcissist, but it's my life that they're doing this crazy shit to. They start driving by, some of them, and mean mugging him. I couldn't believe it. Some of them were literally driving by slow and mean mugging the dude. And I'm like, my God, the dude is not even, it's not even like he's saying anything with sexual innuendo. He's not hitting on me. He's not asking for my number. We're having regular conversation, and even that seemed to be too much. You know, that some of them driving by slow and mean mugging him, all kinds of crazy stuff. One actually drove in by the bus stop and revved by us. I was just like, what the heck? I was like, imagine if this man were to really try and hit on me right now. Like, if anybody even had the balls or the gall to try and date me with what's happening, right? They would bully the shit out of that person and bully that person out of dating me. Like, that's how crazy it is. This guy wasn't even trying to date me. I'm just saying, imagine if it were somebody that were actually trying to date me. And so this is why I'm like, you're doing all of this. You know, this is a small community, right? Making it obvious that it's like this mob-like mentality where if any type of dude tried to date me, you would definitely mob on them. And then you're going to gaslight me about not being able to get a man. Like, how, are you kidding me? Another example. Give me a minute, y'all. Sorry about that, y'all. I had somebody knock on my door. So let me go ahead and finish what I was saying, though. So long story short, that's all I'm saying, y'all. It's gaslighting. You know, another thing that they gaslight me about is, just, you know, my current financial situation. You know, as I was just telling y'all, I'm at the moment making minimum wage. At the job I'm working now, grateful to even have a job, but that is the current state. That's the facts. I am making minimum wage. And they know I have a degree. They know I have a resume full of experience. And so oftentimes to antagonize me, they'll send me videos about that with the shadow networking to get under my skin. And so just the other day, they sent me a video about this girl that's apparently working a minimum wage job. And she's apparently angry all the time, which is something else they like to throw at you. Again, reactive abuse. You know, all these tactics are being used. No privacy. Constantly being harassed overtly and covertly. And then gaslit about your angry disposition, or told that you're an angry person, or you're crazy, or you're bipolar, as if it's not a reaction to what's taking place. So that's already gaslighting, throwing me something about a female that's angry all the time, even when she's not targeted and I am. Anyway, so sending that kind of terminology, she's angry apparently because she's working a minimum wage job. I don't know why she's stuck into that kind of predicament, because for me, if you're not targeted, I don't see what would be impeding you. But I don't know what her situation is, so I'm not judging her. Everybody has a different situation. As long as you're out there and working, it doesn't matter how much you're making. I respect you, and that's how I feel about it. But anyway, so she's angry all the time apparently, and it seems like she was gold digging. She went to live with this older guy that had scabies. Apparently he didn't like to wash his locks, and he told her that he hadn't washed his locks in like 3 years or something like that. And there are people out there like that. The man had a nice house, big huge house, nice cars, so it wasn't a financial situation. Apparently that's just his hygiene. That's just how he is. He didn't want to wash his locks, and you could see he had kind of like free-form locks, which doesn't necessarily mean you're somebody that doesn't wash, because there are many people out there that have free-form locks and they keep their locks clean. But there are some Rasta people out there that truly don't believe in washing your hair all the time. And so he was one of them. And apparently it led to him getting scabies. And so I assume this is part of the lack of attraction that she had towards him. It might have been also too just him being older. Who knows? I think really the main issue was the hygiene. I think she was in a situation where she was struggling really bad, needed a place to stay. This guy kind of, I don't want to say took advantage, because the way they made the video look, they made it seem like she was the manipulator and like she was a gold digger leashing onto this man because he could provide a roof over her head. But then she was using him and not really attracted to him. But what I saw from the video was a desperate young lady that was struggling, didn't have much money, and this guy saw that she was in that predicament and took advantage and offered a roof over her head, but was kind of like, what's the word I'm looking for, blackmailing her. Like if she didn't do certain things, physical things, then she's going to be out in the streets. And that's what I was seeing. Anyway, they were trying to shadow network because they also like to throw stuff about me being a gold digger when I've never done anything to indicate that I'm a gold digger. If anything, all they've seen is me working hard and trying to get a job, working my ass off to get a job despite blockages, and working any job that I can. That's all they've seen me doing. They've never seen me gold dig, ever. It's just another one of those false narratives, like the thirsty thing, just to antagonize me. But anyway, throwing that at me. And apparently she wasn't attracted to the guy because of the scabies, I think. And it seemed like she was using him or putting her claws in him, and she was angry that this was her life, that she had to rely on this guy that she wasn't attracted to. And, now she's about to get arrested, apparently, because she started to physically fight with him because she was trying to, it seems like, scrub the scabies out of his locks for him. She was scrubbing his hair for him with tea tree oil. And he was kind of giving her an ultimatum about affection and the fact that she's not showing affection or whatever physical stuff with him. And that basically he was going to fly her back out to wherever she came from, get her a ticket, and he knew she was going to be homeless. Basically, he knew she was going to be homeless and kind of low-key blackmailing her about it. And so she got mad and started stupidly to physically fight him. And that's where the police were called. And obviously she was found at fault because she did physically start to fight him first. That part she was wrong, and I do agree with that. She should have never put her hands on him. I agree with that. But I could understand the frustration if you're in like this vicarious situation and this person kind of offers you an olive branch, but there's like an ulterior motive, and it seems like they're trying to take advantage. I could see where her anger came from, but it's never an excuse to put your hands on somebody. She was dead wrong in that part of it. She was. And that's not me too. They know full well I would never put my hands on anybody first. They have been watching me at this point for 2 years, y'all. 4 years, really. The people on this island, well, not the people, the whoever runs the technology on this island. They've been observing me for 4 years. Not everyone had access to the cameras. 2 years ago, that was when everyone got involved and everybody started watching. But for at least 2 years, they've been watching me steadily. They know they know my temperament, and they know I'm never going to put my hands on anybody first. Now, if you put your hands on me, then yeah, you could get it. So already it was a false depiction. It was false. But nonetheless, that was again gaslighting though. Trying to paint it like I'm this angry person, like I'm always angry or I'm bipolar. Gaslighting when it's the program that's causing that. So this was just the examples I wanted to give y'all. Moving on to the next thing. Show how twitching is neurological. So y'all heard me talking about in the last clip the twitching thing that happens to me, right? And basically how that thing started 2 years ago. So 2 years ago, it seems like the gold digging thing worked them up because I started hearing revving. The whole time they were quiet, I started hearing somebody revving up in the neighborhood. And when I mentioned that she put her hands on him, they were revving up too. So I don't know why that triggered something within whoever. But okay. Anyways, let me continue. So with the twitching thing, y'all heard in the last clip I was talking about how, it causes these PTSD responses, being stared at all the time, and the noise campaigns and the throwing the false narratives, etc., etc. And I told you that started about 2 years ago when I tried to relocate off island. My targeting went viral, and all these invasive tactics started being used on me, including the use and utilization of the shadow networking software. I just wanted to show y'all further detail about what I said in the last clip, that not only is it psychological, but I believe it's neurological too. I wanted to show y'all where you can hear more info about that. It was this video that I posted a year ago that's titled Diagram of Neuromonitoring Effects on Targeted Individuals. And y'all can see it's an actual thumbnail of a drawing of a woman with different lines going to different captions. And this is a diagram from DARPA where they're literally telling you the effects of and capabilities of the technology. And I give a little commentary. You can see it's 32 minutes long. I give a little commentary on what some of these capabilities are. And one of the side effects apparently is jaw clenching, like jaw movement, involuntary jaw movement, muscle spasms, the same twitching thing I've been telling y'all that I experience. So I think it's more than just some sort of psychological thing. I think it's worsened because of PTSD and my fear of it happening because of how they gaslight me about it and make me feel awkward about it. And I can feel their eyes staring at me. But the whole cause of it to begin with, I believe, is neurological. This was not happening to me prior to trying to relocate off island in 2022. They've been watching me on camera for 4 years at this point. But for about 2 years. Remember, my targeting started in 2020. And it wasn't until I tried to relocate, my targeting blew up and all those crazy things took place, that I started having these neurological, psychological, physical responses. The twitching, the nerves, as I would call it, the jaw clenching, things that they gaslight me about and do noise campaigns about to make me feel uncomfortable. And so I just wanted y'all to check out that video. I have several videos where I've talked about it, y'all. Videos where I actually show you the capabilities of the technology. There was something I wanted to show y'all too. I talked about this earlier, how they can send you vivid dreams with this technology. Because in the earlier clip I made that I ended up deleting, I was talking about this embarrassing thing that happened with my brother-in-law prior to me coming back to island from trying to relocate. So remember at the end of, at the summer of 2022, I tried to relocate off island. Remember, that was when I left and tried to relocate, and then my targeting blew up and went viral. Ended up coming back to island that same year, November of 2022. Shortly before I came back, though, all those crazy things were taking place in Florida, right, that I talked about in the last clip. And I told you at that time I was staying in my vehicle because I felt so uncomfortable to go and stay by family's house, especially the family member whose children the creepy narrative pertained to. So it just felt completely uncomfortable going to that house. But it was like one of these nights where I was so tired. I had been staying in my car for nights. I was skinny. I had lost a lot of weight. I'm telling y'all, within the span of 2 years, I had 2 periods where I lost a lot of weight and I got really skinny and was on, like, I don't want to say, like on the brink of whatever. It was in Florida, right shortly before I came back to island from trying to relocate, because I was staying in my vehicle and there were days on end where I wasn't eating. I was being stalked by all of these people and harassed and like brutally harassed and picking my face, all these crazy things. And then when I got back to island, remember the beginning of last year, which was what I call the fallout year from the things that took place in 2022, I suspect I was hit with radiation and again lost weight. Because when I got back on island, I did eat and gain my weight back. And then certain false narratives started being painted. Some of the things that I've talked about in several videos, including the last clip, happened at the beginning of last year. And I suspect that I was hit with radiation and I lost a lot of weight again, similar to what happened to me in my car in Florida. But anyways, not trying to go off on a tangent. So in my car in Florida, I was real skinny and I just wasn't well. I was picking my face from nerves. I had black, scars, acne scars all over my face that I cleared up when I got home. Just crazy shit, man. Crazy stuff. And I remember this one night I went to stay at that same family member's house who the creepy false narrative pertains to, because I was just so exhausted and emaciated and I needed a place to rest so I could get at least one night of good sleep. And so I remember just laying on the carpet, because what would happen whenever I would go to her house is I would sleep in the living room. In the past, I would have slept in the room with the kids like nothing. But with all the weird, creepy stuff that was going on and her moving different and everybody moving different and weird, I just felt so uncomfortable. I just wanted to stay outside in the living room. I didn't even want to be there because I just felt so uncomfortable with everything that was taking place. And I remember just laying on the carpet because I was so tired, just laying on my stomach. And my brother-in-law was sitting on the couch watching something. And I don't even remember when I fell asleep. I was so exhausted. But I fell asleep. And you can imagine being in that state, physically emaciated, looking like I'm on my way out, why would I be thinking about anything sexual? Why would my libido even be up at that moment? That doesn't even make sense. That's not even adding up. Sure, I'm a young woman, but in that moment, with all of those traumatic things that were taking place, and with me being so skinny and emaciated, right? The last thing on my mind was anything sexual. But again, too, remember with the shadow networking software, they were programming this sexual predator nonsense into my head 24/7. And I was being traumatized and having the program knocked in with all these people revving by and speeding by, right? To knock in the programming and traumatizing PTSD. Me, excuse me, somebody's pulling up outside, y'all. So that was going on, right? Sorry, y'all. Somebody just pulled up outside. It seems like they're back from the basketball game. I think they missed it. I think that's what took place.
I asked you to move from the window, right? Okay. Let this be the last time I ask.
Anyways, y'all. So all of that was already taking place, and that was already being programmed into my brain. It's literally what this targeting. It's called MK Ultra mind programming. Look into that, and how they used to use torture tactics back in the day to brainwash patients. And this was all experimental. First of all, understand that this programming and different subsets of this programming has been around for decades. Understand that. There's an echo with me here in this area. I was told to move from by the window. Let me see if I can fix myself in a way where there's no echo. But understand, there have been many different subsets of this targeting and this programming and this experimentation for decades, y'all. They have perfected this thing. It's been around for a long time. And they used to use torture tactics back in the day, too, to MK Ultra mind control and mind program patients back in the day. Anyway, so all of that was taking place. So that could have been on my mind, but that doesn't make sense. It's just the timing when it happened. It doesn't make sense. That wasn't even happening to me when I was in my car. Remember, I told you I was staying in my car for many nights. And then this one night I decided to go over by them because I was just so exhausted and I wanted to get at least one good night of sleep. Mind you, again, I remind you, prior to leaving Island, they were watching me on camera and they never saw this happen to me. The twitching, the explicit sexual dreams where I'm waking up from a sexual dream and I'm gyrating and on the bed, all this kind of weird stuff that never happened to me before. All of a sudden, I try to relocate. I piss off all of these powerful people, right? A lot of people get involved. I start seeing helicopters following me, etc. High-level target. All of a sudden, all these weird neurological things taking place. And then I go to stay over by their house and I fall asleep in front of my brother-in-law and I have this sexually explicit dream. It was so humiliating. You can imagine how humiliated, I already was with what was taking place at the time. And then now I go and I fall asleep on the carpet in front of my brother-in-law. I'm so exhausted. And I have this explicit sexual dream and I wake up gyrating on the carpet. You know how bad that looks? They were trying to frame me. So let me show y'all something real quick. And I remember being humiliated and I didn't know how to explain it. I just kept thinking it was witchcraft because I'm like, all of these things are happening. It doesn't make sense. Not understanding that I was in this high science program where they use all of these different tactics to frame individuals. The shadow networking software, the technology in your body, hitting you with frequencies and stuff. They can actually cause what's called, and I know this is a TMI, y'all. I'm just keeping it real with you. Check out that diagram I was just showing you. A lot of targets complain about this. It's something called a forced O, right? I'm not going to say the full thing. This is explicit. But they can do that to humiliate you. And that's what I believe that took place when I fell asleep in front of my brother-in-law. That's never happened. You know how much times that I fell asleep in front of and near to my brother-in-law? We lived together in my early 20s. My sister and I and my brother-in-law. Nothing like that ever happened to me. All of a sudden, I piss off all these people. I'm being followed by helicopters. They're using the shadow networking software on me. And all of a sudden, all this twitching weird stuff is taking place and I have this weird explicit dream while I'm sleeping in front of him. Mind you, all these traumatic things have been taking place. I randomly have this explicit dream and wake up gyrating on the floor. You know how humiliating that was? They knew what they were doing. Let me show y'all something. Hello. Welcome. Let me make sure I'm in the right video, y'all. It's not that one. It's the part 3. Because I have several videos where I have shown y'all. The capability of this technology. I have so many dream manipulation videos where I've documented strange dreams that I received. All of a sudden, all these weird dreams or after me trying to relocate on my targeting going viral. And now I'm neuromonitored, which I've already proven. They're listening to my thoughts 24/7. So you know I'm neuromonitored. All of a sudden, all these strange things are taking place. So let me go ahead and show y'all something.
Bring up I wasn't trying to give power to, but I am going to talk about it in this video. That's when I didn't even make a tick. Before I actually tell you about it, happening now, download, because remember, you're at this point like a computer. They've chipped you.
Y'all, you remember I told y'all when I share videos with this recorder app, as I'm doing the recording of the video I'm sharing, I can't hear the video while the recording is happening. I can only hear afterward. So I don't even know if I've gone to the right part of the video, but I believe I have. In this video, I was just sharing with y'all an article of the capability of this technology. Now, this is something from a classified target in India. So the thing is all over the world, just so y'all know. It's really scary. And again, this ties back to what the true agenda behind the thing is. Y'all got to look into that. I already shared a video, explaining what I learned. Again, check out the Harvard DARPA scientist exposes mind control technology being used today video. That's in the description box in the comment section. But anyways, this is an article just talking about what this technology can do.
They put nano in you, whatever it is, got your brain frequency, however they do the weird, creepy shit that they do. They're able to, like a computer, because you're hooked up to a brain computer interface, just like on a computer, how you can download stuff. They can put downloads in your brain. So they can download thoughts and they can download dreams into your brain and interact with you. So it's creepy stuff, especially considering some of the dreams I've had. It's really creepy, So anyways, that's the main thing I want to read to you. I'm not going to read the rest of this article. And if anything, I'll see if I can put the link to it in the description box. But that was the main thing, that first page. That's why I wanted to read the first page. That was the main thing I wanted to read to you guys, was the fact that they can download shit into your brain with this technology. So you're not going crazy if weird thoughts that aren't yours are popping into your head, or if weird dreams are all of a sudden happening now that you're targeted. This wasn't happening to me before I left Island, before my targeting went viral and they started chipping me and doing all the extra stuff. I wasn't having weird dreams and thoughts and all this weird stuff that's happening now. They're literally taking this thing to the highest level and extent that they can take it at this point now. In year 3 of my targeting, they're doing the most. But I have the research, I have the evidence, and I'm articulating what's going on. Anyway, so now let me talk about what happened to me. How their programming really works, and actually how they might have actually downloaded.
Y'all, I'm not sure if I read it to you or not. I just saw the article up, and so I hope I played the right part. Let me go all the way back and make sure.
So just so you understand, this is something that's going on all government. I'm trying to be careful with what order are playing. And I reiterate research. I don't know, because they're used agreeing to the Patriot Act. And so with the Patriot Act, anti-America, I'm just letting y'all see if they're terrorists. The government, I'm not saying the government is bad. I know there's please listen to my part. I'm hardcore targeted. Even tortured systematically are termed as targeted individuals, or TI. There are several hundreds of TIs defending and fighting for justice in India and globally across many countries now. Total surveillance, mind reading, body mind control, dream manipulation, using neural weapons.
Guys, now I realize it's at the right part. I don't know if what I shared just now was the right thing. If it was, I do apologize. Then you're just hearing it twice, which doesn't hurt. But you can see what it can do, right? You're going to hear it in this part here. Total surveillance, mind reading, body mind control, neural monitoring, brain to computer interface technology, where they can actually send you and download dream packages to your brain. Once you're microchipped, they can do this, right? Remember, I told you in prior videos that this technology is like an emulation of the Most High's creation. That's what a computer is. It's an emulation of the brain. Remember, your brain has memory, etc. That's how a computer works. It has the memory, hard drive, etc. So it's similar. It's like these weird emulations of the Most High's creation. These man-made frequencies they have pinging off the satellites. The Earth is on a natural frequency. So this is why they're hooking the shit up to your brain and creating like this Frankenstein type thing, because they're emulating the Most High's creation. But they've gotten it to a point where they could download, once your microchip, dreams to your brain. They can manipulate your body, all types of stuff. They can frame you if they want to. And so all of a sudden, me suddenly having this twitching thing happening when I'm going through all of this humiliation and I already pissed off all these people, and then I lay on the carpet emaciated and on my way out, and I have this weird sexual dream in front of my brother-in-law and I wake up humping the floor. It's more humiliation. It just didn't make sense to me back then. I remember it just didn't make sense. I didn't know what was going on, and I didn't know that it was these people. Just like with the shadow networking technology, what I talked about in the last clip, how everything I put on had something about sexual predators in it. So to the naked eye and anybody who didn't know about the technology, they would just think, yeah, she did that. That's got to be God. That's got to be the Most High. Not knowing that it's these people with their technology, and because I pissed them off, they're doing these things to malign me. And it's like, by the grace of the Most High, I learned about this stuff. I'm telling you, because they were on their way, the fast track to framing my ass. Anyway, let me continue playing.
Remote neural monitoring, module RNM. Please focus on the dream manipulation, because I talked about my experience with dream manipulation. And actually, oddly enough, and I wrote it in my notes, what this video is actually about, what I'm going to talk about in a minute, the two examples of how the programming has been effective. You know, when I woke up, these weird thoughts that pushed into my head on 2 different nights that contained the stimuli they've been sensitizing me to. It came right after a very strange dream. Every time, both times they came after a strange dream. And then I also talked about that strange dream that happened a few months before I did that symbol with my hand. And I woke up with my...
Okay, so I'm going to stop it there, y'all. I believe I'm saying the same thing I said in the last part that I just recorded. I don't know. It might be a little blotchy, but y'all can see where this is at, right around an hour and 10 minutes into my part 3 gaslighting and programming of the targeted individual video. So if you want to see more about that article, or you want to hear the whole article, you can go to that video. Let me scroll down to it real quick. This video, part 3, gaslighting and programming of the targeted individual. And you can see the thumbnail says your mind is programmable. It's an hour and 51 minutes long. So if y'all want to fast forward to that part, like around an hour and 7 minutes in, when I start sharing that article, you can go ahead and do that. You can also check out the DARPA article I was just sharing, right? Where I was showing you the effects and the capability of the technology, or you can check out this video. Evidence of mind control technology used on targets. Another video where I share research, documentation, patents, etc. about the technology utilized on targets and the capability of the technology. So understand it's a high science program, and they can frame an individual if they want to. And that's basically what I believe was taking place when I was in Florida, because I had pissed off a lot of powerful people with my reactive abuse to what was taking place and to the thing following me. Anyway, let me go back over to my text messages, y'all. So show how twitching is neurological. Did that. Stuffy nose, mine is worse, not mine. I just want to correct myself, y'all. In the last clip where I was talking about the stuffy nose situation that my brother and I share, I noticed that one part I said mines, M-I-N-E-S, is worse. And I meant to say mine is worse. Obviously, mines is incorrect. Well, not obviously. Not everyone knows that, but I have OCD with certain things, y'all, and mines is incorrect. You're not supposed to use that. That's improper grammar. It's supposed to be mine. So I just wanted to correct that. And lastly, text message from person in close circle that led to amp up in stupid false narrative and mouth sensitization, and then shadow networking stimuli about angels that cause reaction, and amped up God stimuli and gaslighting. I know that sounds crazy, y'all. I know it sounds like fubu dubu. What are you talking about? But that last part that I just read there, that sounds like craziness to you, but makes sense to me, is talking about what led to me making this video in the first place. What happened last week, about a week ago, that led to them again trying to sensitize me to my mouth twitching, trying to amp up that narrative about me doing something spiritual, really just to spitefully malign me because of what I said in my full story about believing that somebody had done something spiritually wicked to me. And so that was when the whole witchcraft thing started becoming a part of my targeting. So they have cooled off with that because I made enough videos to disprove that bullshit. But at this point now, because of what happened a week ago, they basically tried to amp that thing up again and tried to sensitize me to my mouth twitching again, because they tried to connect this weird neurological twitch that's going on with my mouth to some sort of false narrative. Last year they're doing it to be spiteful, trying to make it seem like it had something to do with me chanting or some weird creepy shit they were trying to create, and so it just created this weird thing with me where it just made me more traumatized about my mouth twitching, which actually exasperated the problem and made it worse. Exacerbated the problem and made it worse. So let me go over there to the text messages that happened a week ago so you can understand what led to the amp up in the God sensitization and the sensitization about my mouth twitching. Oh, Jesus.
They took it out and they didn't clean the top of the freezer. That's what that is. Some bottle or something broke inside it.
So y'all, about a week ago when I was at work, prior to me going into work, I had like a little reactive abuse in my room because something had happened. Again, me having one of these PTSD reactions on camera. I don't remember what it was for. And instantly hearing noise campaign outside, and so I got mad, and it's never a real explosion with me because I have such an even kill temper, but I did stay in here and start to kind of like curl in my head and complain in my head and just have one of those nasty type of angry passive aggressive type of moods that I get in when I'm dealing with the bullshit 24/7. So I remember just getting up and I was going to go to the bathroom, and the hallway was kind of in darkness outside. And as soon as I opened the door, mind you, I'm being watched on camera, so if anything, I can quicker get startled than someone else. But I remembered opening my door, and as soon as I opened my door, someone in my close circle, the same person you're going to see in these text messages with me, had come out of the bathroom, and she jumped and screamed, I guess because she saw that, I was in my room angry about what had taken place on the screen. The gaslighting about the PTSD, not saying she was gaslighting me, but me getting angry about being gaslit, so them instantly doing noise campaign to me having one of these PTSD awkward reaction, anxious reaction type responses to something they had sent with the shadow networking. I don't remember what it was, but that had put me in a pissy mood. So I remembered I got up in this bad mood and I went to use the bathroom, didn't know she was in there, and she came out the same time as me, and she jumped, like literally jumped out of her skin. She was so scared and screamed, and nobody has been really moving or acting scared of me in the house. It's been months since that happened. It was kind of happening at the beginning of last year when all these false narratives were being painted, when I was really the one that was scared because I was the one that was actually physically being harmed. But anyways, I don't want to go into the details about stuff. I don't want problems. But nonetheless, she jumped, like completely jumped. And I remember feeling bad about it. Even though I was in a bad mood, I'm like, damn, I would never hurt you or anybody. So I'm just like, her jumping like that. I'm like, what? It made me just want to lock myself in my room. I remember just, after happening, being startled and going in my room and locking the door. So after that happened, that night I had work, y'all. And I went to work, and she and I were texting back and forth. And I don't remember what started the text messages, but she was responding to one of my text messages, and she said, no, you do it yourself. I am done trying to help you. I don't remember what I had asked her for. But I think, asking her, I'm done trying to help you get the bare minimum from me. I was asking, it must have been something about an application, right? Because I'm constantly trying to get a job. And she said, no, you do it yourself. I am done trying to help you. You get the bare minimum from me. You are ungrateful and mentally ill. You refuse to see a doctor, and this is to a point that I myself feel unsafe with you around. Now, mind you, this comment comes after she jumped, after I was angry or had the angry reaction in my room. Mind you, not screaming, not cussing anybody out. Never that type of anger. More so just you'll see my face get mad and I might start thinking negative, angry thoughts because of the constant impeding of my life, the lack of privacy, the constant painting of false narratives, them constantly sending me stupid shit with the shadow networking. I can't even watch a show comfortably because they're staring at me 24/7 and torturing me in that way psychologically. And then I get gaslit about what's taking place. Like, this isn't really happening. And so that's what was going on. You know, I had just, like I said, stayed in my room and got a little bit angry. No real response like that. And then I went out there and she jumped. And so I remember just coming in my room and locking the door and feeling bad. And so then we were having this conversation. And I guess because of the nasty thoughts I had been thinking in my head, out of anger, reactive abuse, to them sending me the stupidness and then hearing noise campaign as soon as they sent whatever they sent me. She was telling me this thing about no, do it yourself, whatever it was I was asking for. I'm pretty sure it was something to do with a job application or something like that. So then she starts telling me I'm ungrateful and I'm mentally ill and you refuse to see a doctor. And this is a point that I myself feel unsafe. And, you know, again, that unsafe thing was coming from that moment where I was coming out the room and she jumped. So I said, like I said, very sad. I said, I would never harm you or anyone else. You truly do not know your own child, is what I said. And she said, not anymore. After all you continue to say about us, I guess she's talking about these videos. And this too is something I feel gaslit about because I've never said anything untrue in my videos. I don't want to say too much because I don't want problems, y'all. So I'm gonna be careful with this part and try to rush through this part. But understand this right here is why I made this video. That's what this is all about. I haven't made a video in 2 weeks. And because of what started amping up, and kind of like a recycling of an old tactic, because of this is what caused it. This is why I'm making the video. She said, after all you could, and this is why I make my videos, because I am dealing with what I'm dealing with. The long and short of it is, I sent a text message in 2020 to the people in my close circle, and that was the start of this nightmare. And it's just been a continuous nonstop thing since then. I've tried to apologize numerous times, y'all. I even tried to remove myself from the situation. I saved up money, tried to relocate. It followed me when I hadn't even committed a crime. I don't know if I have to scream this from a mountaintop. And now everything is impeded. I even tried to order a scooter so I could have transportation. Even that was impeded. And then I get gaslit about my anger and gaslit about complaining about what's taking place. It's just like, anyway. She said, after all you continue to say about us, you obviously don't know your family anymore. And your thoughts that we would hurt you in any way, so much so that you are afraid to come out your room, you could end up hurting one of us. Oh, because that was what I had said in the prior messages. I was telling her that after she jumped like that, I went in my room and I locked the door because that made me afraid to leave my room when she was reacting like that. And I didn't mean afraid as in like she would harm me. I meant afraid as in you're making me feel like uncomfortable about moving around in the house. When I know I wouldn't do anything, I don't understand why you're acting like that, because I got angry about them sending me stupidness and then the constant noise campaign. Anyway, so then she said, and your thoughts that we would hurt you in any way, so much so that you are afraid to come out your room, you could end up hurting one of us, and I am afraid. Last night you were standing in, like I would be standing in the darkness and they're watching me on camera. You think I could ever stand there in the darkness and they not make one set of noise campaign outside? She said, last night you were standing in the darkness in your doorway. You weren't expecting me to open the bathroom door so quickly. I was scared so much so that I cried because I felt that way. I'm unsure of how to help because nothing I've done or said helps. I am to a point where I don't even want to take a look at you because I know your mind is not right. This is what I'm talking about when I say gaslighting. I'm sorry, I'm not meaning to point specifically at a message here and say that because that could get me in problems, but this is what I'm talking about, where all of these things are taking place and you're reacting. You never had mental health issues prior to targeting. You're reacting to what's taking place and then you're being told that you're crazy or mentally ill. You can hear how I speak in these videos. There's nothing mentally ill about me. Anyways, and I'm even controlling my anger with all that's happened. I can tell you some people in my close circle right now that if they were in my shoes, they would have done exploded. They would have already exploded. Anyway, so I said, so she said I was scared so much so that I cried because I felt that way. I'm unsure how to help you because nothing I've done or said helps. I'm to a point where I don't even want to take a look at you because I know your mind is not right, and everything we say or do is made to seem like we are doing something to you. Where are you anyway? That part about where are you anyway is irrelevant. I work different shifts, y'all. They have me at different posts with the security, and so sometimes they get off at 8 a.m., sometimes they get off at 6 a.m. It really depends on where they put me. So I said, I didn't say I'm afraid to come out my room because I fear you all. I said your reaction last night has me fearful to leave my room. You screamed. Furthermore, my anxiety and fear in general is because strange things have been happening to me ever since I moved back home in 2020, talking about when I sent the text, y'all, and when my targeting started. Last year, I got sick and felt a burning sensation as I lost weight, talking about what I suspect to have been radiation poisoning. Remember, y'all. Also, I am constantly hearing a humming sound while my ears simultaneously pop as if on an airplane. I try to discuss these things and am met with cynicism and doubt. Lastly, I was not standing in the dark waiting for you to come out. That is weird. When have I ever done that? I got up to leave my room and you came out the bathroom at the same time. Again, y'all, I reiterate, they're watching me on camera. There's never a moment where I could have stood there and waited in the darkness without, first of all, everyone seeing, including them, and without them doing noise campaign outside. They do noise campaign when I'm just doing regular day-to-day stuff, much as if I were creepily standing in the darkness in the doorway. Anyway, so that was my response. And obviously with the humming thing, I'm talking about the Havana syndrome. Y'all have seen the videos where I've been documenting how they use the thing on me off and on to the point where it causes physical reactions. It causes physical side effects like the apnea or my throat feeling like it's closing up, all kinds of stuff with the hum, right? And this is something I've documented that I've been sending texts to this person that I'm texting and the people in my close circle about for months and complaining about it. And what I'm told is that it's in my head or I need to go see a doctor, and it's something that is really happening. They've actually laid off on it like within the last month. I want to say they haven't done it as much. They have laid off within the last month. But prior to this last month, they were doing a hardcore for about 3 months. They were doing a hardcore on me. You all saw the video that I documented. Let me go to that video real quick. Sorry, y'all, things are taking long to load up. I know it by the thumbnail more so than the title, but let me look at the title. Here it is. You can see 2 months ago I posted this. The use of Havana syndrome on targeted individuals. And you can see it's 1 hour and 13 minutes long. Again, y'all, sorry that the thumbnail isn't loading up. I don't know what's going on with my internet. Anyway, so I even made a video about the hum, what I call the hum. I.e. Havana syndrome. Let me move back over to text. So that was my response. And then in response to that, she said this. She said, correct. And that is how I feel. You keep morphing into someone we do not know. It's not that we don't believe you. However, what you believe is the issue, is not what we believe is the issue, especially the humming and buzzing. I have a burning sensation in my stomach now constantly, and you hear me say it and talk about seeing a doctor. I've lost a lot of weight as well. Do I think something is being done to me? Now, again, you are making me think. I lie in my bed every morning struggling to get up because of the burning in my stomach. My feet sometimes feel dead. Am I blaming some nefarious entity? Am I suspecting you? Maybe I should. Now, her saying this, she knows they've already sensitized me to having done something spiritually wicked. This is the stuff they were trying to portray last year. And not just to her, to everyone in my family. All of a sudden, there was this thing they were doing last year where everybody, even far distant relatives that are far away that I have no access to, when things are going wrong with them, they're kind of trying to insinuate this false narrative like I had something to do with it. all of a sudden, just because in my full story, when I initially told my story, I was talking about the fact that I felt like the things that were taking place in my life had something to do with someone doing something spiritually wicked to me. So to spite me, they started painting this false narrative like I had done something. I'm not a dummy. Again, this is a situation where I would have had to have ratted on myself. Why would I dabble in that stuff and then sit there on camera with all these people looking? They're already freaking vilifying me, and painting me as a predator of all things. Why would I now sit there on camera with all these people watching and talk about spiritual things and spiritual wicked things and feel like somebody did something spiritually wicked if I had done it? It doesn't even make sense. It's like idiocracy. It's like the level of insult that they've insulted my intelligence with some of these false narratives. It's obvious that they're just trying to troll me. So anyways, that was last year to what they were doing. Everybody that had an issue or had some sort of physical ailment, they're trying to blame me for it. And something that this person in my close circle has struggled with for many years at this point now is diabetes. And so last year they were trying to sensitize me to that, to what she was suffering with, not trying to be insensitive. She is older, right? She's 60 now, but she's had diabetes for, I don't want to say the wrong figure, but if I'm going to put a number out there, probably like the last 5 to 7 years she's had it, type 2. And so with that, of course, if you don't heal it and you don't take the measures needed to wean yourself off of the medication, it could get more progressive. It's something that's easy to heal. That's the crazy thing about it. It's not like one of those chronic illnesses where it's like a real fight to heal. First of all, from my understanding of the research I've done, you could heal just about anything here. Any physical thing that you have on earth, you can heal, because the Most High has put different things here on earth for you to heal your body. In the Bible, it even talks about the fruit yielding herbs, and those herbs were put here to heal the body. That's what the superfoods are about. That's what the moringa powder is about. That's what the wheatgrass is about. That's what Dr. Sebi's message was, talking about the herbs on earth that you can use to heal your body. He was healing people of AIDS. He was healing people of diabetes. He healed his own diabetes. And so these things are real. It's proven. They actually took Dr. Sebi to court because he was claiming that he was healing AIDS patients and they didn't believe him. They thought he was talking bullshit, and he won the case because he was able to prove that he actually had healed several AIDS patients. So I'm just trying to make it clear with y'all that that's my understanding, that you can heal anything with faith, first of all, if you really believe in the Most High. If you really believe, then me doing anything spiritually wicked wouldn't have worked, which I didn't do, by the way. But then also, too, just the actual physical things that he tells you is here on earth. You can heal your body with those things. And if you don't believe in the Bible, there's scientific proof behind all of it. There are a lot of people that are in the natural health community that believe in healing the body with herbs and stuff that aren't necessarily spiritual people, that don't necessarily subscribe to the Bible. So it's not like I'm trying to push scripture, because they love to say that too and twist my words. I'm just coming from that standpoint because that's my understanding of things. Anyway, so for years I have been telling, before I was ever even a target, I was sending her articles about Dr. Sebi and getting off of the harsh medicine and weaning herself off of the medication. And she'll kind of look at it and kind of say like, okay, yeah, I've been doing this and that. And, I haven't been taking the medication, and, kind of this kind of half-stepping thing and not really fully committing to changing her diet up to the point where she's completely off of the medication. I even pushed Dr. Berg at her shortly before my targeting started. I was telling her about the keto diet, which is a diet where you cut all sugar out, and it's another thing that can heal diabetes, or at least manage it extremely to the point where you don't need medication. Type 2 diabetes is the type of diabetes where you can wean yourself to the point where you don't need medication. It's not like type 1 diabetes where there's literally some sort of deficiency within where it's, that's kind of hard to heal. You can take natural things to make it more manageable. But I believe, from what I understand, I haven't looked into it, but from what I understand with type 1 diabetes, you're born with that, and it's not like type 2 where it's something that's caused by diet, something that can be easily fixed. So anyways, these are things she and I have discussed throughout the years. So it's just like, we know what's causing the issue. It's not like it's okay or that makes it okay or I'm going to be insensitive towards it, but there's some sort of consequence. We know that you've had diabetes for years, and we know that you're on this harsh medication. The burning thing with her stomach actually started shortly before I left Ireland, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Because I remember when it started, we were teaching virtually, she and I. and we used to sit with the computer on our lap. And I used to be in my room and she used to be on the couch before I started going in the car and teaching out of my car. And so I remembered her when she came to us and was telling us about this burning thing that started in her stomach. She said, I think it's from holding the laptop in my stomach all day long, teaching these classes. I remember her saying that. I have good memory like an elephant. This was prior to me leaving Island, prior to any of the false narratives being thrown at me, and prior to my targeting going viral. I was being watched on camera, but it wasn't what it is now. And so she and I were having a conversation about it, and I was acting completely natural and normal because they hadn't sensitized me to stuff and started painting false, weird, creepy shit. So anyways, apparently the issue is still happening and she's still taking the medication, and we already looked into the medicine too. She even told me this prior to leaving Island. She saw that there was some sort of creepy study with the medications. Specifically, I think it was metformin, that medication she was taking, that there was some sort of study about it causing stomach issues. Another thing to look into, and I started looking into it that morning, because while she and I are having this conversation, of course, instantly outside, the external gang stalkers started making noise and doing noise campaign to make me feel uncomfortable and trying to insinuate the false narrative about me doing something, right? And so instantly I started doing research and sending her articles talking about what it could be and what it probably is likely pertaining to. And I also found let me not say the wrong thing. Let me look into it. Hold on. So her saying this though, I'm not blaming some nefarious entity. Should I be? Maybe I should. Like, you already know. I'm not saying she did that intentionally, but I'm saying you already know that they were painting this false narrative about me, right? Especially as it pertained to her, and not just specifically her, like damn near everyone in my close circle. They started painting everything that was going wrong with them, trying to tie it back to me out of spite. You're going to send this, they're all watching it and create stuff. They immediately started trying to make noise campaign outside and make me feel uncomfortable while I'm being stared at on the camera. And so I had one moment where I think I breathed funny like this when they started doing the revving outside. And I caught myself. I'm like, this is stupidness. And I stopped myself from the awkward reaction. And I instantly started sending her articles. And so I sent her... I said, first of all, I replied with, the difference between you and I is that you have a cause point. Like I said, the diabetes and what I just discussed. I said, I sent you the article of the diabetic medication you take. I have also constantly for years, which she knows I have, told you to wean yourself off of that toxic medicine. I sent you numerous articles from Dr. Sebi, who healed himself from diabetes. And she said, and you don't. I guess she's talking about me not having a cost point, because I'm saying, what's the cost point to me getting ill last year and losing all that weight? Or what's the cost point to the hum that makes me have physical effects sometimes? There's no cost point to it. So it's not in my head. I'm not mentally ill, and there's nothing that we can point to that's causing it other than what I'm saying, targeting. So she said, and you don't. You will not even see a doctor to know that. So give me a break. She's so basically just telling me I need to see a doctor, like it's in my head, like, again, pointing it towards mental illness. So then I start telling her, look at Tammy Roman, because Tammy Roman's another celebrity that struggles with diabetes, that lost a lot of weight. Now she's saying something different. She's saying it's also a body dysmorphia. But for a while they were saying it was because Tammy Roman had diabetes. It's a known fact that a lot of people that suffer with diabetes also deal with weight loss and stomach issues and something called gastroparesis, I think it is. I don't want to say the wrong thing. I'm going to show y'all just now. So I said she lost weight too. And Tammy Roman's around this person's age that I was texting. I said, look at when your symptoms started. It was shortly after taking the harsh meds, which I was wrong to say that, because it actually started, I remember, around 2 years ago when she and I were teaching virtually. At this point now, about 2.5 years ago, when she and I were teaching virtually. But the medication, I believe she's been taking it longer than that. I think she's been taking it for a good while, like maybe 3 to 4 years at this point. I think there have been off points where she did stop taking it, but she's been taking the medication for about 4 years now. So I said, look at when your symptoms started. It was shortly after taking the harsh meds, which was incorrect in the timeline. But then I said, so if there is a nefarious entity causing it, that would be it. I said, I, however, am a 32-year-old woman with no prior health issues that got extremely ill last year. I'm talking about what I suspect to have been radiation poisoning, had dark circles under my eyes, and massive weight loss. And then I said, there are a lot of strange things happening to me that cannot be explained. And I'm just talking about all of these, covert and sometimes overt, intangible forms of what feels like physical attacks with energy weapons, I suspect, etc. So then she said, you need to stop looking into other people and looking at yourself. Yeah, I do see a lot of crap. I don't know if that was sensitization or not, because they sensitized me to the word shit. I don't know. Maybe that was just her saying that. But and the scary part is these people end up killing or hurting the ones that love them, and why I'm afraid of you. So that really triggered me, because one thing I'm not is a physical person. I'm never going to hurt anybody. That's not even my character or my demeanor. It's just like anything that's happened within the last few years, I've just been reacting with my mouth. Even with physical fights. There were 2 physical fights I got in with someone else in my close circle. She put her hands on me first. Both times you could see I didn't want to fight her. And then when I absolutely could not hold her off because she is bigger than me, I actually physically had to fight her back. So I said, I did not know your symptoms had gotten so bad. Just talking about what she sent to me about the constant burning, because now she's saying constant. And I remembered before it was just whenever she would eat. I remembered it was this thing whenever she would eat that she would, look how they're revving now to be spiteful. Revving to still try to create the false narrative. Spiteful is what they are. The most I'm going to deal with that. But anyways, so I said, because I truly didn't know. She and I don't talk like that anymore. We're not close like how we used to be. I used to be very close to this person and everyone in my close circle for that matter. My targeting has completely distanced me from everyone in my family, which also too is why I felt like it was something spiritual going on. Anyway, I'm not going to go into the details about it. Because now look at what happened. Me saying that in my full story turned it into this thing where they again had another false narrative that they were able to paint about me, and create, nonsense because of what they call as quote unquote bearing false witness. But anyway, so I said, I did not know your symptoms had gotten so bad, because I truly didn't know it had gotten so bad. She's not telling me anything. I mean, maybe the other people in my close circle, but I don't really communicate with the people in my close circle like that. I really don't. And so I hadn't known that it had gotten so bad. And so I said, and I don't understand, because I do still see her actively popping the medication. I don't know if it has gotten to the point where it's constantly burning, why you would keep popping the toxic medicine. It doesn't make sense to me. And then also too, even in one of the articles that I started sending her, you can see that they said if you're taking the medications and experiencing stomach discomfort, stop immediately. Let your doctor know. Why would you keep taking it? It doesn't make sense to me. But anyway, so I said, I did not know your symptoms had gotten so bad. Why do you continue to put those meds in your body? And then I said, so a man think it, so is he. Talking about how she was saying this, the people that are afraid end up hurting the ones that love them. I'm like, this is what happened to me last year. I'm like, you're thinking this way, but that's actually what y'all did to me. I mean, I suspect, because that's what was taking place. They were painting these false narratives last year. First of all, what really happened was I was sitting there still trying to be productive. This is why I said the gold digging thing. I laugh at that with every fiber of my being, because they know that I've done everything in my power to be productive and take care of myself rather than trying to turn to someone else to take care of me. Including last year trying to become a developer and teaching myself how to code and sitting there all day long creating a portfolio and creating projects, etc., etc. And the current kept being taken, all these different things taking place, people laughing outside, all kinds of stuff. And I started getting really angry. And that was what ended up building up to me actually doing certain things as far as like physical things, as far as like saying stuff, not even saying stuff out my mouth. I was thinking horrible stuff in my head, just like, they done did so much to me. I would never, what did I think in my head? I said, they done did so much to me. I would never, do this to them. Oh, this is what was happening. I'm trying to remember, y'all. It's been a whole year and change now since I put that stuff behind me and I already made videos about it. Around that time when I was coding and stuff, in between, I would sometimes play my pool game. And so not only were they taking the current and then outside laughing and antagonizing me, but then also I would play the pool game sometimes and they would play against me with avatars alluding to death. Like it would be the Black Death Bull, or it would be the Rest in Peace Dove, or just horrible stuff, man. And I'm hearing noise campaign in the background. And I remember thinking, man, they're so wicked. They said they done did so much to me and now they're wishing death on me. I would have never wished death on them. That was what I said. And just all kind of stuff I was thinking in my head around that time. And I remember this was around the time when the radiation thing happened to me. And so it was their fear of me, I guess, the painting of whatever false narrative that led to them. I don't even know if it was fair, or if it was just literally them just being that upset with me because everything else that was taking place. I don't know if it was truly fair, or just them being that upset with me that they let these people hit me with radiation. Whatever it was, it seems more relative to what happened with them. Like, it's the reverse, where your fear of me, whatever the false narrative was, led to you almost letting these people, me, if anything, Yah forbid, be careful with my words. That's why I said, so a man think it, so was he. This is what was done to me. So then I said, again, I would never kill or harm anyone. And I say that with my full fiber and my full being. And I say that with full consciousness and with the most I hearing. I feel good about it. I didn't do anything. The only thing I did was say offensive stuff and act awkward on camera. I never did anything to physically harm anyone. I never gave anyone permission to physically harm anyone. I never did none of those things. So I said, again, I would never kill or harm anyone. And I said, I rebuked that in the name of Yahshua. And again, that's the same thing as saying Jesus. It's the same thing as saying Jesus Christ, because again, I feel like there's some sort of negative connotation to me using Hebrew because of what I shared in my car in Florida. The original language was Hebrew. The original name of the Most High was in Hebrew. There actually wasn't even the letter J in the Bible, in the original language, which I don't care. I'm not trying to preach or teach stuff. I don't care what your belief is. I don't even care if you're an atheist. That's between you and whatever your higher power is, whatever your belief system is. I don't give a shit. I really don't. But I'm just trying to explain, because I do think that they also have some sort of negative feeling towards me saying Yahshua or Yahweh, when really that's just the Hebrew name for God and Jesus. It's the same thing. The Most High knows when you're calling on him. So even if you're saying Jesus, that's just fine if you're truly talking to the Most High. It's fine. But I'm just explaining, and I put it in all caps. So I'm just like, I rebuke that, man. But anyways, so I said I did not know. Oh, that's the same thing. So she said, no, it didn't. I started taking medicine strawberry with no problems. You are wrong. So she's just talking about me saying the wrong timeline, because I said the symptoms started when she started taking the harsh meds, but that was incorrect. I do remember it started about 2 years ago when we were teaching virtually, because she made the comment about the computer sitting on her stomach all day long. I do remember that. And this was prior to my targeting going viral, and prior to the false narratives that they started painting about me. What else? So I said, she said, oh, okay. I said, when did those symptoms start? I said, it does not happen right away. Those medicines are toxic. I said, look into Tammy Roman again. No, when I said look into Tammy Roman, she responded no to that earlier message. Excuse me. So I started sending her articles. You can see gastroparesis. That's what it's called. I think I was saying the right thing. Was I? I think I was saying strepinus, y'all. But gastroparesis and diabetes. Apparently, gastroparesis is a common condition amongst diabetics, where they get the stomach irritation from the medications, and also to just whatever it is that's taking place with the diabetes, with the lack of sugar. And it causes some sort of like acid type of response, inflammatory type of response in their stomach, where it can cause all of the symptoms that she was pretty much saying. It sounds a lot like, I don't know, I'm not a doctor, but it sounds a lot like gastroparesis. And so I just started looking in that moment, looking into articles and sending it to her right away, because they were making noise in the background already, trying to create a false narrative. I'm like, we have a cause point for what's going on here if we just look into what's going on. Likely the main cause is the harsh medication. What else? Oh, that's it. I did send the rest of the stuff. I started sending her a bunch of stuff, y'all. That's just one of the articles. As far as her saying her feet felt dead or numb or whatever she said, I sent her articles about the medication and diabetes in and of itself, and how it can cause neurological issues and nerve issues. If you watch the movie Soul Food with Big Mama, you can see she was cooking. She was really not taking care of herself. She was eating terrible. This person in my close circle eats much better than that. She was really doing the damn thing in the movie Soul Food from the 90s. Really good movie. But you can see one of the times where she was cooking the dinner and her diabetes started getting real bad. She had her elbow over the flame, and her daughter had to be like, yo, you're burning yourself, because she wasn't feeling it. Her nerves weren't working. That's a common symptom of diabetes. So if you're feeling any neurological numbness, that's diabetes. That's clearly diabetes. That's what that is. And so anyways, I just started sending her a bunch of articles and stuff. But ever since that happened, we go and I'm revving up and trying to create something. The shadow networkers in the Fusion Center or wherever the hell they're at, that's watching and constantly looking for things they can use to paint false narratives and malign and smear. They saw what took place, instantly started sending me creepy stuff with the shadow networking about that specific relationship, I'm not saying who the person is, but that type of relationship, sending that kind of creepy stuff with the shadow networking. And then they also send the stimuli about angels watching. And so when it happened, I had the awkward reaction, the stupid PTSD reaction on camera. And instantly they started constantly sending me stuff about God now to try to sensitize me to God again and get that reaction and paint the false narrative. Whatever works. If it's a child thing, if I slip up and have a PTSD anxious reaction on camera about a child thing that they send me with the shadow networking, they start sending that stuff constantly. If it's a false narrative about the witchcraft thing or whatever it is they started trying to paint, they start sending that instantly. Whatever they can send. They so badly want to paint the false narrative and get something on me. They want me to be guilty so bad. It's so creepy, this situation I'm in right now, where you have all these people against you. You haven't done a damn thing but piss people off with your mouth. And they want you to be guilty, and they have you locked in these cameras and sending you all this bullshit, and you have these anxious responses. It's like, it's such a creepy predicament. It's so creepy, and it's so weird how I'm locked in. Again, despite whatever feel like this is something spiritual, I strongly do, and I feel like my lack of faith is what even let it get this far. But then I also think my faith is what saved me from a lot of what started to take place. Anyway, so that's what I wanted to talk about. That was really what led to me making this video. Let me see how long. An hour. Okay, not too bad, not too bad. The last thing was 57, so it's about 2 hours. Okay. So that's basically what led to me making this video, y'all. That last point right there, and them now trying to sensitize me to God and sensitize me to that relationship and sensitize me to that false narrative again, and trying to now kind of recycle that narrative like they do recycle whatever works, whatever they get a reaction to, they start pushing that thing and making that be the thing. I was like, now let me make a video. You know, I had stopped making videos. After what happened with work, not to bring that up or cause trouble, I have been really like trying to stay clear of making these videos because I do not want to be without a job. But when that thing started happening a week ago, I said, nah, I'm gonna make a video about it. And this is what led to me making this video and talking about all the things that I started talking about. This was the cause point. One more thing, I want to talk about something that happened in the gym on Monday. That is irrelevant, y'all, and it's actually just something that kind of like briefly happened that just by fluke is getting added into the video because it happened before I could finish off the video. But I did want to talk about it because, again, it's just another example of having all these people against you sitting on the edge of their seat waiting for you to fail, pretty much. It's such a creepy experience where you can't escape it. You know how bad it is to have so many people staring at you that are against you? You know, it's such a bad thing, man. Bad. When you have so many people against you that are staring at you constantly and all of their energy is focused in on you and hoping that you fail. It's horrible, and it's like you can't get away from it either because these cameras are on you and they're locked into you. They're in your brain. It's creepy and crazy. Hold on, let me sit up and tell y'all what happened here. Y'all, I gotta catch my breath. You know, I don't know if they're doing the hum on me or not. I wouldn't be surprised. But let me catch myself and I just finish off this video. So as y'all know, I consistently go and I work out, despite them throwing the thirsty bullshit at me and whatever else other little tactics are used to try to discourage me. I still consistently make sure I get to that gym and I work out because that's one of the things that's been keeping me sane, I guess you could say. First of all, with all the things that I deal with, the physical things, I know how important it is to work out and make sure that my body is staying oxidated, and that I'm taking care of my body in that way. But then also too, it's been helping me mentally. I learned years ago that working out, it boosts serotonin levels. It's almost similar to like when you take a drink or something like that. Horrible example to use, but it's similar to that when you work out. You literally get a boost of serotonin. And so if you're somebody that suffers with mental health issues, even if it's something as simple as depression or being targeted, the working out can help stabilize your mental and help give you that feel-good feeling and a natural pick-me-up. So all of these things are the reasons why I make sure that I get there to work out. Also, I just like working out. I've always been into athletics. I just thoroughly enjoy it. So I make sure I get to work out no matter what's done or what happens to impede whatever it is. I make sure I get out there and I get my workout done. So this morning, now I went Monday. Remember I told you I've been going super early now so that I can ensure I get a ride there. I've been hopping in the car with this person that teaches in the morning, ride down with her on her way to work. She drops me to the gym. Excuse me. So this is now a different time to when I typically go. And it's a whole different set of people typically. I've been seeing a different set of faces to the faces I usually see. And usually the time I get there, those faces will be like a burst of people. And I'll be catching like the tail end of their workout. Because I think a lot of them are working out before going to work. And so I'm catching the tail end of their workout. So when I first get in there, it'll be like a handful of people, a burst of people sometimes. And in about 30 minutes into my workout, the gym is empty and it's just me. I love it. It's like, it's like, when am I ever going to get that? And so for like, I want to say a good maybe 30 to 40 minutes, maybe an hour, I get to have the gym to myself. It's such a good feeling. And I constantly too, while I'm doing the workout, looking up at the door, paranoid like, damn, when is someone gonna come in? Because I know it could possibly be gang stalking. And I try not to think that way, but you know how it is with this targeting. It's like sometimes you deal with gang stalking, sometimes you don't. Sometimes they leave you alone and let you just have time to yourself. And then sometimes, it is what it is. Constantly though, I do believe that there's always somebody, not always, but oftentimes I do believe they do send in someone to monitor me just for the hell of it. But not necessarily to gang stalk. That happens sometimes. So anyways, Monday was kind of typical to what I've been experiencing since I've been going earlier. The first 30 minutes, burst of people. And then the latter part of, I wouldn't say the latter part of my workout, but the latter beginning part. So towards, I'm saying nonsense. It would either be the latter part or the beginning part. But later into the workout, I'll get the gym to myself for about 30 to 40 minutes, maybe an hour. So I'm doing my workout, right? I actually decided to go heavier this day. I explained to y'all what my regimen is. I have a lot of different things I do in my routine. I've showed y'all this already. I do squats. I do 40 squats. I've told y'all this already. 20 on the Smith machine and 20 on what I like to call the back squat machine. I explained this to you all in prior videos. It's 2 different squat machines that I use. I can go heavier on what I call the back squat machine because it provides more stability. And so unlike with the Smith where it requires balance, the back squat machine requires less balance and is mainly just focused on your strength. And actually I keep saying Smith machine, but I've looked at videos online about Smith machines. I've looked at YouTube videos, at what Smith machines look like. And I recall using a Smith machine in the gyms when I was in the States. And it's different to this machine here in this gym that I use. This machine is similar to a Smith machine, but it's a little bit different. There's no fixed path. You can move more freely with the barbell. So it's almost like just having like a loose barbell that you're using, but there's an area to rack it kind of. It's kind of like a Smith machine, but it's not exactly a Smith machine, this machine. But nonetheless, what I'm calling the Smith machine requires more balance. So I'm not able to go as heavy on it. The heaviest I've gone on this machine now that I'm calling the Smith machine is 250 pounds. Whereas on that other machine, what I call the back squat machine, I'm up to 320 pounds and I've been there for a while now, for the last 2 months. So anyway, on the Smith machine, typically I'll do 10 Zercher squats. So that's an emulation of front squats if you're into working out. I don't want to go into too much detail because now I'm kind of going off on a tangent. But I am into working out and I do want to talk about that type of stuff too. I don't want all of my videos to just be about, the depressing targeting stuff. I do want to make videos about working out also. But I don't want to go into too much detail, especially if you're not into that and you're watching the video to hear the targeting stuff. I do want to get to the point of what took place on Monday. But typically I'll do 10 Zercher squats, which is similar to a front squat, except you're holding the barbell in the crook of your arm instead of on your collarbone, because that's a little bit difficult to do. That takes practice and I don't like how it feels. So I'll do 10 of those squats because it hits your quads more. And then I'll do 5 squats at 160 pounds with the barbell on my back. So regular squats where I'm working out my back area, my thighs, quad, etc. But it's more so glute focused and hamstring focused. And then I'll do 3 squats at 230 pounds and 2 squats at 250 pounds. So all in all, I'll be doing 20 squats in total on this, what I call the Smith machine, but it's not really, as I said, a Smith machine. And then on the back squat machine, sorry y'all, I'm trying to move. It started raining. Remember, hurricane's supposed to be happening tonight. So I'm trying to move from the window because it did start kind of getting loud. Y'all may have heard the rain. Then on the back squat machine, I'll do 10 squats at 270 pounds, 5 squats. I'll do 10 squats at 180 pounds, 5 squats at 270 pounds, and then 5 squats at 320 pounds. So anyways, I decided to switch things up a little bit with what I call the Smith machine. And instead of doing 10 zerchers at 90 pounds, I don't believe I said that last time. I just told you I'd do 10 zerchers. I do 10 zerchers at 90 typically. I decided to go heavier with my zercher squats so that I can get more work on my quad area. And so I decided to go up to 160 pounds with my zercher squats. And instead of doing 10, I decided to do 5 of those. And then I did 10 160-pound back squats. And then the other part of the latter part of that workout, which is 3 230-pound back squats. And then 2 250-pound back squats. So I'm doing the zercher squat, and the thing had me like straining, y'all. Like at the 160, I didn't know it would be so stressful doing the front squat. Well, zercher squat, which is similar to the front squat, doing that at 160, I didn't know it was going to take such a toll on me. It was like really straining me, y'all. And so it took me a while to get through it. And I did a few extra stuff too. I've added a few extra stuff to my routine. There's a lot of stuff I do in the gym. And so I know it took me longer this morning it's so funny how it started raining heavily as soon as I start talking about this gym thing. I know a hurricane is supposed to be coming, so it's going to sound mad if I say HARP, but off and on they have been using HARP on me, y'all. I told y'all already that's a tactic they use on targets. Look into it. And so there's no way for me to decipher whether or not they're hitting the button and making it rain a little bit harder or not. But coincidentally enough, as I start talking about this gym thing, it starts pouring rain. Anyways, I don't want to sound paranoid, so, it is what it is. But, so it was just taking me longer to get through my routine. I've already kind of, like I said, put together this lengthy routine so that I can get a thorough, in-depth workout, because I only go Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. But then also, too, I go so early that it's like 3 hours before the bus is going to come. So I try to make sure that my workout is long enough to last for about 2 hours. 2 hours or at least an hour and a half, so that my wait for the bus isn't as long. My wait for the bus will typically be an hour to an hour and a half. And so this morning it did take me longer to get through my routine because I had some extra stuff I added. I was going a little bit heavier with my squats on the Smith machine, my zercher, etc. It took me a little bit longer to get through my routine. So I'm just taking my time, enjoying having the gym to myself. I was mad at myself because I had forgotten to bring my earphones this morning. Right? This was on Monday. This happened. And before I even got in the gym, I remember just hitting my head like, damn, I forgot my earphones, because y'all already know, I've explained this to you already, my brain ticks all the time because of programming, just knowing your thoughts are being projected, etc. I just recently watched a movie, What a Man Wants, or I forgot what it's called, with Taraji P. Henson. It's from 2019. I forgot what the name of the movie is. But in the movie, she was able to hear men's thoughts. And so her assistant started, once he realized she could hear his thoughts, he started thinking, apple pie, apple pie, apple pie, because he couldn't control his thoughts and he didn't want her to hear his thoughts. And I was like, oh my God, this is such an accurate depiction of what it feels like to have your thoughts being projected. Except it's much worse because everyone around can hear your thoughts. It's not just like this one person. Y'all, I'm going to finish this video when the rain holds off because this is ridiculous and I don't want you to not be able to hear me good. So I'm going to stop right here and I'm going to finish the video. So where I'm leaving off at is lastly talk about the gym. I'm telling y'all what took place, the gang stalking activity that took place on Monday. This is where I'm stopping off. All right, y'all, I'm back to finally finish this video. As you can see, as it's the next day, it's 5:18. The last clip was nighttime. Remember I told you a hurricane or a tropical storm was coming. That came, the current went, so this whole day has passed now and we had no electricity. And the electricity came back on about an hour ago. So I'm just finishing off the video, y'all. I'm going to finish telling you about the gang stalking activity that took place on Monday in the gym, which is what I was talking about in the last clip. And then I wanted to show you guys that article I tried to show you all in the last clip, that article from the classified target in India, because I listened back to the last clip and I'm realizing that my fear was confirmed. Remember, I told you I cannot hear whenever I'm sharing a video. When I'm screen recording a video, I can't hear it until afterwards when I'm playing back the recording. And so I did not get to record the part I wanted you all to hear. So I now have actually fast forwarded it to the point in the video that I wanted you all to hear. So you can hear that part of the article and the capability of this technology. And I think I'm even going to go a step further and share a small clip from another video I have on my channel talking about the capability of this technology, how they can send you, again, dreams, control your body, put thoughts in your head if they want to, you know, all of these really scary things, aside from just projecting your thoughts. Anyways, so let me finish what I was saying in the last clip about the gym, and then I'll go ahead and share that article, the part of the article I wanted you all to hear. And then, like I said, a short clip from another video talking about the capability of the technology. Sorry, y'all, my nose is stuffy. Anyways, so I was just, where I left off, I was just telling you all that I had realized on Monday when I went to the gym, and I was supposed to go today again, y'all. Today is Wednesday, but obviously we had a hurricane last night and electricity was gone today. So most of the stores and establishments were closed today. I'm almost certain the gym was closed, so I didn't go. Even if it weren't closed, by some miracle, I couldn't bathe. So I couldn't go today, unfortunately, and I need to get new sneakers anyway, y'all. So anyway, on Monday when I went, this was like the fourth time of me going at this earlier time. Remember, I told you all to make sure that I get a ride there. I'm actually riding down with someone in my close circle that teaches. So she goes to work, obviously early in the morning, and on her way to the school that she teaches at, she drops me to the gym I work out at because it's on the way. So when I got out the car and I'm walking to the gym, I realized, I went to turn on my music and I realized I didn't have my earphones. I was like, shit. Now remember, my thoughts are being projected. So everyone around is listening to my thoughts. They're staring at my every move. It's like a live movie here on the island, a reality TV show that I didn't agree to, my life. So I'm just like, shit. I'm like, I forgot my earphones. I'm like, man. And as soon as I thought that, somebody revved by in the road. Remember, they're listening to my thoughts. I was like, damn, I remember just kind of being pissed off about that because my brain ticks. Like I was telling y'all in the last clip, my brain ticks, just the idea of my thoughts being projected causes this psychological thing where it feels like I have no control over my thoughts. And sometimes things push in that I don't even mean to think. I can't really even explain it. It's this weird thing, and it's really hard to explain. You would have to truly experience it to understand what it feels like. But that depiction that they showed in that movie I was referencing with Taraji P. Henson, where she was able to read the men around her, she was able to read their minds, and then her assistant, who's a man, found out that she was able to do that. He started thinking apple pie, apple pie, apple pie, because he didn't want his thoughts projecting to her. And that's like a similar depiction of what it feels like. That's why I'm always making these weird sounds in my head or sometimes with my mouth, trying to just block out these thoughts from popping in. Or sometimes it's thoughts, like I said, that I don't even mean to think. I've thought offensive things before that I didn't mean to think, just because I was fearful that I would think it. I can't really explain it. It's this weird thing that happens, and I'm almost certain it's made more enemies for me too. But I'm gonna go into the details about that. Anyways, so once I realized I didn't have the earphones for me to listen to music, I started to kind of have like a mini panic attack. But I'm like, okay, well, I'm still gonna go work out. I'm not gonna let this deter me from working out. But I did have like a mini meltdown, not like a major one, y'all. It's not like I was in the road freaking out like a toddler. But I was like, shit, I'm just like, damn, they're reffing by too, of course, celebrating that I didn't have my earphones. So obviously the gang stalkers, I think, devised a gang stalking plan or whatever it was, to harass me because they knew I could hear. It's not like I didn't have my earphones in. And again, too, this is a different set of people than the people that I typically see in the gym when I go to work out. This is a different time that I'm going now. So I went in the morning early, and actually, like I said in the last clip, there was that initial burst of people. I believe that group of people go there super early to work out before they go to work. And so they're there for like 30 minutes of my workout when I first get into the gym. And then it just clears out. and there's no one there for a good 30 to 40 minutes. I have the gym to myself, and it's like so amazing. But anyways, I don't know why they're making the bird drone sound. I mean, I think it would be understandable why I feel that way. I mean, look at what happened on Monday. You know, typically it's not a problem. People are there and they mind their business. They do their thing. Every now and then I've documented it. They do send in people to do gang stalking activity, but it's not often. It's really not that bad, especially not recently. More so than anything else, I think every now and then they'll send someone in to monitor me like a cop or something, but they don't do anything too invasive. It hasn't been anything too crazy. But sometimes, every now and then, they do send in someone to antagonize me. And I believe this is what happened on Monday. So I was enjoying the gym, having it to myself for that low 30 minutes or whatever. And I was working on the Zercher squats, and the shit was straining the hell out of me because, like I told you all, I went heavier this time. I went to 160 instead of doing the 90 pounds. So that's quite a jump. You know, that's almost like twice that weight, almost. So it was a lot more hard than I anticipated because I'm squatting when I put the barbell on my back. Y'all know what I'm doing. I just told you all, and I've told y'all in several videos, I'm doing all the way up to 250 with the Smith machine. And then with the other squat machine, I'm going to 320 pounds. So I'm like, 160 is nothing. I'm like, okay, if I'm putting it in the front, yeah, that's a little bit more of a strain, but it's still the same weight that I'm holding on my back. That was my reasoning. And so I'm like, if I jump up that high in the weight, it's not that big of a deal. It was a big deal. This thing was straining the hell out of me. And it was really hard, but I did it. I got through it. But it took me longer than usual to get those squats done. So I'm getting through now the last set of my squats on the Smith machine. And this guy comes in, right? This Rasta guy. He didn't really do nothing. He came in. I think I had seen him in there. There's like several guys that come in that look similar. So sometimes I can't tell if it's the same person or not because I try not to look at people too hard, especially with my targeting. I just feel like anytime I look at, especially a man, for longer than 2 seconds, they start to try to put that man up to gang stalking activity. I've noticed it before. It's like just crazy shit they do. It's constant craziness with as far as men and me go, especially when it pertains to the gym, because they try to paint these false narratives about thirsty, and if it's not trying to gang stalk me with honeypots and they're trying to gang stalk me with females, that's more so antagonization, just trying to be spiteful and piss me off. But I just try not to make eye contact or look at people too long. I really do. But so he came in, and I had seen before a dark-skinned Rasta guy come in, and I'm not sure if that's the same one, because there's one that comes in that looks similar to him. And when he came and spoke to me, because you're going to hear after the gang stalking convo that took place, that Rasta guy did come and say a few words to me, and I got to see him up close. And I do think he's different to the other. There's another dark-skinned one that comes in there. I'm not sure. You know, I can't tell, but I think it's two different people. I'm not sure. I think this one, I think that was my first time working out with him. And I think there's another one that comes in that looks similar to him. Anyway, whatever. It's irrelevant. It's not irrelevant because I want you to understand it's a new set of people that I'm working out with now that I'm going earlier. But I don't think I've worked out with that guy before. I'm not sure. Anyway, so he comes in, he wasn't doing anything. He was minding his business. He wasn't even paying attention to me. You know, I'm doing my thing on the Smith machine. Obviously, I looked up because the mirror is there and so I can see who's coming into the gym. And I was actually looking over my shoulder, kind of paranoid too. I'm always like that when I have the gym to myself for the low 30 to 40 minutes. I'm constantly looking up in the mirror because I'm just like expecting someone to come at any minute. And then I don't have that, have it to myself anymore, which is not a big deal. I know the gym is for everyone. I don't have an issue with people coming in. That's not what I'm saying. But it does feel good to have it to yourself, especially when you're targeted. Anyway, so I did see when he came in. He came in and was completely minding his business. He didn't look like he was on any gang stalking anything. He totally went straight to wherever he was going on the other side of the gym. If he was sent in there to monitor me or gang stalk me, he did a damn good job of pretending like he wasn't, right? So I continued doing what I was doing on the Smith machine, and I was taking my time getting through the reps, y'all, and stopping, catching my breath. You know, I always go through the reps real slow because I first of all want to make sure that I'm really putting my muscle into hypertrophy. And so I try to do things real slow. And then also too, I'm going heavier constantly. So it does take a strain and a toll on me. So I do sometimes like sit and I catch my breath and I go through my reps real slow. There's no rush. And as I told you all, I am trying to stretch the workout out to make it be at least an hour and a half to 2 hours long. So by the time I go out there to catch the bus, I don't have a super long wait. So anyways, I'm just taking my time doing that, and I wasn't feeling on edge or anything despite not having the earphones because it was only him in there. You know, and he came in and he looked like he was just going to mind his business. He didn't seem like he had any type of negative energy or anything like that. Then this next dude comes in. I almost, because I thought a disrespectful thought about him once the gang stalking started. I did think something nasty. And then of course now I'm the monster. I'm monster bitch, because you should see what took place once I left the gym. I'm gonna explain in a minute, right? So this other guy with cut hair comes in. I've actually worked out with him before. I've seen him before. He's actually spoken to me before. Not anything more than like a sentence or two, but he's been cordial to me before, and it's never from my observance ever been any gang stalking activity or him doing anything passive aggressive. So he came in, and I actually didn't even realize who he was until he came closer to the area where I'm at and I recognized the face. But to me, it was just a random person coming in. And he immediately, I think he knew the Rasta dude that was in there. He immediately started conversation with the guy. So I can hear now. My earphones are out. I'm not used to this. I'm used to having my earphones in. So even when people come in, I don't hear what the hell they're saying, and I don't care. You know, I'm in my zone. But I'm hearing everything they're saying because I don't have my earphones in. So so the guy comes in, right? The guy that came, the second guy, right? Okay, hold on, y'all. I'm by the window. Let me move. I don't.
But you do. But you do.
Anyways, y'all, I was asked to move from by the window again. Let me turn my guitar around, because I have a guitar in this little corner that's not by the window, and that's why I hear an echo whenever I come in this corner and I try to do my video. It's like literally the hollow part of the guitar. My voice echoes out of it. So, anyways, so he starts the conversation with the dude, and obviously they knew each other. Seemed like they might have even gone to school back in the day together. I'm not trying to be nosy, but I can't help but hear what's going on. I'm sitting in the gym, they're in there with me, and I can hear them. It's not like I wish I could. It's not like I could turn my eardrums off. So I'm hearing everything they're saying, and at this point too, I was sitting down in between sets and I was catching my breath. Remember, I told you guys I do that. I sit down on the hack squat machine. It's kind of like a hack squat machine. It's a little bit different, but it's slanted in a way where I can sit on it and use it as like a bench rest. And so typically between my sets, when I'm on the Smith machine, I sit on that hack squat machine that's behind the Smith machine, and I catch myself. So I'm sitting. It's not like I'm doing any reps. And so I have nothing but time and I have nothing but time on my hands, and I'm sitting there catching my breath, and I can hear their whole conversation. So the first thing he starts saying, this is not verbatim the conversation, y'all, but slowly but surely I started to realize that this was directed convo that was taking place. At first I was like, let me not be paranoid, you know. People talk all the time, you know. I've been sensitized to so many things that damn near everything will sound like gang stalking to me at this point. But after a while of the conversation and what was being said, I realized that the dude that came in was intentionally trying to throw digs. I'm like, what is his issue? Right? So first he's talking to the dude, he's talking about and again, this is not verbatim what they said. This is just like the gist of what was said. He's telling the dude how he hasn't been to the gym in a while because he needed to eat, or either he was eating too much or he wasn't eating enough. This is to tell you I wasn't really listening, but I was hearing bits and pieces of the convo, and I started to realize it was gang stalking. So he was talking about something about eat. He kept using the word eat, right? And so that already kind of put my hecklers up, because remember I told you there was a point in time when they were trying to sensitize me, be perverse, and sensitize me to the word eat. Again, trying to paint the false narrative of me being, you know what, like swinging the other way, right? So I wasn't sure if that was taking place, and I didn't immediately start feeling any type of anything about that. That didn't really make my hecklers go up. It wasn't until the other things started being said that I started realizing, wait a minute, he did keep saying eat, you know? He was talking about something about how he needed to eat more. Either he was needed to eat more or he was eating too much. But he was talking about being a vegetarian, and you know, he doesn't eat meat, and a lot of people to be surprised that he don't eat meat. He's been a vegetarian for a long time, and something about eating this and eating that. And he was saying something about tuna fish and how he can't stand the smell of tuna fish. So that's where my ears went up, because, you know, they like to pretend like I smell bad, right? So when he said that was when that was when I initially started thinking, is this gang stalking? It wasn't the eat thing. That was later later when I heard the other stuff, that was when I started putting the eat thing together too. But it was the tuna fish thing, the way he said he can't stand the smell of tuna fish. That was what really made my ears go up. I'm like, wait a minute, right? So he starts saying that and going, and I still didn't have any type of reaction because I'm like, I don't want to be this person where I'm like paranoid about every little conversation and I start acting crazy, which is what they want with this program. And feeling like everything is about me, although oftentimes everything is about me. It's so creepy and weird. You know, it's like they call me a narcissist when they make everything about me. And then you expect me not to act narcissistic. It's oxymoronic to think that you can make everything about me and that I wouldn't feel like everything was about me. You know, it's crazy. But anyways, I was trying not to be like that. So I still, even when he said the tuna fish thing and my hecklers went up, I still was like, nah. I was like, let me not, you know, because I've worked out with this guy before. I've seen him before. I had at this point now seen his face good, and I realized it was this dude I had seen in there before, and he's usually polite, cordial. He's even said a few words to me before he's hopped into the machine after me, before he's worked out in the same area with me once before. You know, he wasn't doing anything strange, very cordial, you know, so I'm like, nah, maybe not. Maybe I'm just sensitized. So I still sat there quietly. I didn't think anything. I didn't have a reaction. I'm still catching my breath, mind you. This is in between my sets. So after he said the tuna fish thing, and I think he realized he didn't get a reaction from me, right? He then starts to say, and you know, when I was 13, now remember, remember they've sensitized me to the word 13. He starts talking about when he was 13 and he was in middle school, how he used to put the stocking cap on his head when he had hair on his head, and his hair used to be a mess underneath and his hair wasn't combed, and used to be going around a lot of girls or whatever. I'm not saying verbatim what the dude said, but this is like the gist of it. That he was going around a lot of girls and none of them knew what was going on underneath his stocking cap. Now, mind you, the night prior, I had just went to the store, the grocery store, and my mom was supposed to be putting cornrows in my hair for me. Either she was supposed to do that or I was supposed to dye my hair and blow out my hair. And I had even texted myself, remember, they're watching everything I'm doing. So my hair was freshly washed because I had the intention to either let my mom cornrow it or I was going to dye it. And so I didn't want to mess with my hair or put anything in it. So I decided to put the stocking cap over my hair, and it was a mess underneath. And I put the hat on and I put one of my dresses on and it actually looked okay. So I was like, wow, I said, these people, I said, they've already seen me all kinds of way in my house anyway. I said, so I really don't mind leaving with my head looking a mess. This is what I said to myself in my room. I was thinking this. Remember, my thoughts are being projected and they were revving by as I thought that thought. So they're like actively play by play, keeping up with every little thing that's going on with me in my life, and then having the nerve to be creepy enough to come around me and gaslight me about it, or do directed convo about whatever it is that they heard that I thought in my head in the privacy of my room. It's just this weird, creepy thing with this program, man. So anyways, I knew it was shadow networking though because he said 13. And remember, they sensitized me to the letter 13. I'm not letter, the number 13. And I don't really know why. It's just another one of those false narrative things, just like the tight thing that they started throwing at me last year randomly. The 13 thing, they saw, they're all watching me. They just randomly started throwing that number at me when they were trying to sensitize me to the false narrative of whatever creepy shit they were trying to create. And I never looked it up. So to this day, I don't know what the symbology behind 13 is. What I do know about is Friday the 13th, and I know that's bad luck. So I don't know if that's what they were throwing at me or what it is, but they keep throwing 13 at me trying to be funny. So anyways, when he said the 13 thing, I knew for certain he was definitely doing directed convo. I was no longer sitting there like, I'm not going to think anything because I don't want to be, accusatory. I'm like, okay, nah, this bitch is doing, excuse my language, but because he was trying to be nasty. And that's why I thought what I thought. I was like, I'm in here minding my business, working out. Nobody's coming around harassing me. Why you had to be the one? Right? So he comes in, and I've dealt with him in there before, and he was cordial, so I'm like, what is the issue really? So I'm looking him up and down trying to figure out what the issue is. And I started thinking nasty thoughts about him. I did. I try not to do that because I make more enemies when I do things like that, even though it's reactive abuse. But I'm like, okay, the face is average and he's short, so that might be what it is. Now, me saying this, I might make more enemies. Being short is not a crime. It's not a problem. There are plenty of women who date short men. There are plenty of short men out there that are good people. So I already told you I don't have an issue with short men. And actually, the reason that I choose not to date shorter men is because of an insecurity within myself. I've said that numerous times. It's because of my own insecurity and my height. It's something I've grown accustomed to now and something I've grown to love about myself. Being a taller woman, I'm 5'8", But I do remember back in the day, like that was an insecurity of mine, my height. And so this is why I felt like I needed a man that was my height or taller, because I felt like a shorter man couldn't handle me. And I wanted a man that would make me feel, like a woman. This is how I felt. And so it's not a disrespectful thing when I say that I'm not attracted to shorter men. It actually stems from an insecurity within myself. So I don't have an issue with short men, but some short men might take offense to some of the things I said in the past, especially pertaining to the fact that if there is a shallow bone in my body, that would be it. I wouldn't date a shorter man. And I've said that very openly. So I'm like, let's see what the problem is. I started looking at him and critiquing him because I know he can hear my thoughts. And I said, okay, I see. I said, I get it. I said, you're short and ugly. This is what I thought in my head. I was being a bitch. But he was being a bitch first. Of course, they're going to listen to what I thought, and I'm the monster. He literally saw me in there minding my business, working out and doing my thing, not bothering anybody. The other dude came in there, was minding his business, doing his thing. You come in there now, you're trying to create something. For what? And so that's what led to that bitchy response. And that's a prime example of reactive abuse. Because they would look at my bitchy thought and I'm the bitch. Instead of looking at what he just did and how he was trying to get wrath out of me and make me feel, I guess, bad about myself. Because I decided to leave the night before with my hair unkept. Like a lot of women do, a lot of men do sometimes, and go to the store. Okay. And also the other thing too about tuna fish. This man knew I don't smell like no tuna fish. I'd be bathing myself like so often. I'd be like 5 times a day sometimes. I make sure I'm clean. I'm washing my stuff. I'm spraying on a bunch of perfume. You talking about tuna fish. Like high disrespect. And so then me now responding and just insulting you a little bit compared to what you did first, I'm the bitch. You see what I'm talking about? And this is how it works with this program. That's how they do. So anyways, I said, I see what the problem is. I said, you're short and ugly. I said, I get it. That's what I thought in my head. I said, I get it. I see what the issue is. I get it. And when I said that, they started to quiet down. The talking that they were doing started quieting down. And I heard him saying something about he was beating a lot of girls and this and that. I think he was talking about sex, how he used to beat down a lot of girl and this and that. And he started talking about, I think he was talking about having sex with a lot of women. I don't know what he was saying, but that's what it sounded like. And I'm just like, I thought it was hilarious, the whole thing. But the bitch in me was trying to surface and I was trying to behave myself. I was, because I'm like, I came in here on a positive energy. I just want to work out and leave. I'm not trying to mess with nobody. I'm not trying to bother anybody. I just want to come work out, leave. And you come in here with this bullshit. And if I were to have reacted worse, because it could have been a worse reaction than what happened. That's just a little stupid thing I thought about him being ugly and short. And in all actuality, he's not an ugly dude. He's not somebody you would look twice at. I'm just keeping it real. Shit, some people might say that about me. Beauty is in the eyes of the beholder. But he's not ugly. He's just average looking and he's short. But I knew that was something I could say as an insult because he's not necessarily handsome either. He's average looking and short. And so I knew I could say ugly and that would be something that might hit the mark because I'm like, what really is the issue? Why are you coming for me like that? And so that's what I said. I was just being a bitch. And I typically try not to come for people's looks because I know what that feels like. They do that to me all the time with this programming. And I'm not the kind of person that insults people's looks like that. But you come for me first, then I can come back too. And so that's what I said. I didn't say it. I didn't say it out loud. I thought that in my head and then they quieted down. And then that's when I heard him talking about he'd be beating a lot of girl or this, whatever shit crap he was saying to the dude. But after that, it's just like it quieted down. They stopped with the loud talking. And then the Rasta dude came over to me and he kind of just was telling me if he ever needs to work his legs out, he's going to come to me because I look like I know what I'm doing. And just making conversation, I think, maybe to lighten the mood because of what just happened just now. Because it was directed convo that was taking place just now. And so I think the Rasta dude was just trying to mellow out the situation. And so I just talked back to him and I told him I don't really know what I'm doing. And he said, I'd be just watching videos and figuring out what to do. I said, me too. And he said, well, you're doing a good job. I said, thank you. That was it. And at that point, I was basity because of what took place. There was no one else in the gym but that Rasta guy, that short dude. And then there was a third Rasta dude that had come in there. And so by the time I was done with the Smith machine, it looked like the Rasta dude that came over to talk to me was showing the other Rasta dude around the gym. So it seems like he was new to the gym and I never saw his face before. But at that point, first of all, I was kind of basity. I'm not going to sit here and lie. But then also, too, I told you I had done some extra stuff that day in the gym. And so I thought that I had went over the time limit that I had given myself to work out. And so I was like, let me just leave. Instead of going to the other squat machine and doing my second set of reps, I opted to just leave because I didn't have my earphones And I had already thought that thing about the dude, you know, and they were already doing the directed convo prior to me thinking that thought. And so I just knew my brain might start ticking. So I was like, maybe I should just leave, you know, it's just one day. I can skip that second part of my workout and I'll come back, regroup, and come back the next day. This is what I thought, because I don't have my earphones. My brain is likely going to start ticking. And then too, I also knew that I thought I had went over, because it did take me a bit longer to do my reps that day since I was going heavier and I had done a few extra stuff. So when I left, I'm walking and I look at the time and I said, wait a minute. I said, this is early. You know, I hadn't even reached too far from the gym. I said, this is early. I said, it's 8:40. I'm like, nah, man, I have more time. I can do more workout. I need to do my second set of my workout. So I said, let me set my alarm. I'm going to sit down and catch myself, and then I'm going to go back in there and I'm going to finish my workout. And I don't think anybody knew I was going to do that. So I set my alarm to 9:10 and I headed over to the area across from the bus stop where I usually sit to wait for the bus. So as I'm heading over, after I already set my alarm to go back to the gym, so they didn't even know I was headed back, I put my phone back in my pouch and I'm headed to go sit down. They start to rev by like crazy. You have to understand, this is what I'm talking about when I said a lot of them are watching me 24/7 with a hateful glint in their eye, hoping to see me fail. It's this weird thing. And then if I ever dare out my mouth say the word hater, they would call me a narcissist and come for my neck. But it's just the things they're doing. Like, they're literally sitting there praying that I fail or praying that something negative happens to me. It's crazy. And so as I'm walking to go sit down, I'm noticing a few of them start revving up and down, like they felt like that interaction led to me leaving the gym early. When, like I said, it did play a part in things. I was feeling somewhat bad and I didn't have my earphones. So I felt like my head might start ticking. But then also too, I thought I had went over the time that I allot for myself to work out. When I had left the gym, I looked at my clock, and I know the people that are watching Controlling the Technology saw this. I saw that it was too early. I said, wait a minute, it's only 8:40. I said, nah, man. And I set my alarm immediately before they even started revving. I set my alarm to 9:10. I said, I'm going back in there. I'm going to finish my workout. And so I set the alarm and I went to go sit down. I said I was going to sit down outside for a little bit until 9:10, and I would go back in there. And low-key too, I was hoping that little short dude would have left, because it seemed like his main purpose was to antagonize. So anyway, so I went to go sit down, and that's when I noticed the revving and all the craziness. I'm like, oh my God. I was like, they were just waiting for a moment like this. Like, damn. So, you know, that just made me laugh. Right? And so I sat there, I started playing my video game. I'm like, they're going to love to see when I go back in that gym. I'm like, you know, I'm just laughing at the stupidness. Then somebody, like, they got geared up and hopped out of their house just to ride by on the little motorcycle, speeds by on the little motorcycle. I'm like, this is hilarious. So I'm just laughing and having a field day with them. And I move over to another part, and I'm playing my video game, and I pull out my water, because I know they like to say I'm thirsty, and I really was thirsty in the moment. And I drank my water, and they're so predictable. I knew they'd rev by, so I did a little extra stuff. You know, I started to guzzle and go all this extra stupid shit I was doing, just fucking with them. And so they start to rev by for real. I just was laughing at them. And then I went to sit down and catch myself, and then I heard the bus, and I looked up and I saw one of my parents' friends, and that's when I got Bassity. The whole time I was laughing and having a field day with the stupidness they were doing, knowing in my head that I'm going back in that gym when my alarm goes off. But then I saw one of my parents' friends, and I do still have respect for people, you know, despite whatever is happening. I have respect for elders or whatever the case is, especially if it's somebody I know. I saw one of my parents' friends, and that's when I got Bassity. I got so Bassity when I saw her. And this is how it always is when I see one of my parents' friends or somebody that my parents know. And that's when I sat there and I started to get Bassity for those last 10 minutes before my alarm went off. I started to like sit there awkwardly because I realized that she was watching me also. And that was when I got Bassity, those last 10 minutes. But anyways, my alarm went off. And when it went off, I got up and I headed back to the gym, and they started revving like crazy. Like, you could tell they didn't expect me to do that. I thought it was hilarious. So I went back in there. I said, I never skip my second workout, and it doesn't make sense for me to do it now if there's no necessary reason for me to do that. You know, I realized that I had stopped super early. I have so much time before I need to get on the bus. Let me go and finish my workout. And so I went in there. And of course, you know, as I'm heading there, I'm sure the people in the gym can see what's going on. Everybody's watching me. When I get in there, coincidentally enough, the short dude is sitting on the machine right next to the squat machine where I have to squat. They know I'm kind of funny. I've already talked about this in my prior videos. Because they like to lie, a lot of them, and act like I stink as this way to antagonize me and be spiteful, I purposely try not to squat directly next to somebody. I've squat with people in the vicinity so many times I don't care. But directly next to me, my fear is that you're that close that you could easily lie and say that, yeah, I was that close and I smelled her. That's what my fear has always been, because some of these people will lie. They don't like you and they will damn straight up lie through their lips. He was already talking about tuna fish and I never even squatted next to that man before. So I'm like, he's sitting right there. I know he's doing that to deter me from squatting. He thinks I'm going to be fearful to squat next to him. I said, I don't give a damn. I know I smell good and I'm about to do my workout. So I said, lovely, when I saw him sitting there at the leg machine. And I went and I put my weight up and I did my squats. And that was that. He actually got up from that machine and went to use the other machine on the other side. And he said, damn, are you going to stop? Because I kept pulling a bunch of weight. Remember, I'm doing 320-pound squats. He's like, damn, is it going to stop? Because I kept pulling the weights off. I said, nope. I said, I want the whole thing. You know, just laughing with him, because I'm like, okay, now you're acting cordial. I can act cordial too. As if nothing just happened. But I'm like, okay, no problem. You know, because it's like, I'm not trying to make enemies with people. People have a problem with me. I don't have a problem with anybody. And so I said, wait, you about to use this machine? He said, yeah. I said, well, let me move my weights, because I realized my weights were in the way. And he said, no, it's okay. I can still use it. I said, you sure? Because the way that my weights were laying against like a calf machine that was on the other side of the squat machine, it was kind of in his way a little bit. So I'm like, okay, you're going to struggle a little bit if I don't move my weights. I said, don't. He said, no, man, don't worry, I could do it. I said, no, let me move it. And so I moved my weights out the way for him. And he did his thing and I did my thing on the machine, and that was that. I left. That was the end of that. And they stopped with the revving bullshit when I left the gym after that. But it's just like the school bully. It's like a million of them. It's just like, you have to stand up to them or else they're going to just keep stepping all over you if you don't stand up to them. It's literally like this mobbing, bullying type of thing that's taking place. And if you don't stand up to them, they will have a field day with your ass. Anyway, that was all I wanted to talk about with the gym. Yeah, I just had to talk about it. I thought it was crazy. It was wild. I had to talk about it. On to the next thing though. Let me show you all now what I wanted to show you about that article that I tried to show you all from the classified target in India, showing you the capabilities of the technology. Let me go to the video now and play that part of the article that I actually wanted you all to hear. So, using this, harassers can view all the innermost thoughts of the targeted person on a screen as clearly as one reads a newspaper. The eyes of the target become a live camera for the trackers. Whatever the target views is recorded on the tracker's computer or viewed by the tracker's brain using a brain-to-computer interface, BCI, brain-to-brain interface, BBI. This is why I was freaked out, because I talked about this in my prior videos. The fact that it seems like they can hear my thoughts and they're not listening on their cell phone. It seems like they're hearing it in their head. And to me, I'm like, did they take the chip, like, willingly, just so that they could hear my thoughts and be a part of this program? I keep wondering that, because I'm not privy. I'm on the outside. I'm the target, so I don't know how this thing works. But the gang stalkers know how this thing is put together, and from what I've gathered, I can at least tell that they're hearing my thoughts in their head. And I keep seeing several people saying that. So I'm just kind of wondering, did they take the chip? Is that how they're hearing my head? Like, did they really consent to that? I'm trying to figure this out. Anyway, let me continue, because that's what he's talking about here, how some of the trackers can actually see what you're seeing and hear your thoughts in their head. So that's where we're at right now. Anyway, these satellite-based technologies result in gross bypassing of fundamental human rights, such as personal privacy, health, safety, data security, family security, etc. Pre-packaged this is what I wanted y'all to hear. This is the part here. Pre-packaged dream sequences are routinely downloaded to TI's brains, and harassers interact with the victims while they are dreaming. Stressful traumas/shocks are also induced via artificial dreams, completely wireless. This person said without any chips, implants, electrodes, etc. But I am aware of the fact that they have an RFID chip. But from what I'm understanding from different videos, we're now in the quantum frequency phase of this experimentation. So they've been doing the chips since the 50s, apparently. And let me show y'all the video where you can hear more about this, the chips, and the fact that they might not even need the chips anymore. I know I'm chipped because I got the thing in my finger. But it seems to me, I'm trying to figure it out. I don't know. I'm still doing research. It seems to me like the technology is so advanced now that I think they chip you just to get your brain fingerprint. And I think once they have the brain fingerprint, they don't even have to utilize the chip anymore. But I don't want to give misinformation. I'm not certain how this thing works. I'm still doing my research.
But in this video that says stop manipulation document, no, wrong video. In this video that says mind control MK Ultra is the
Yeah, I'm going to stop it here because now I'm going into other stuff. You can check out that video. I showed you which video it is to get more info and hear more about it. There's actually something else I want to share with you all as far as the capability of the technology goes. Excuse me. This video, check it out. This is another one that shares a lot of info, y'all. I share patents for the technology, etc. in this video. It's titled Evidence of Mind Control Technology Utilized on Targeted Individuals. And you can see the thumbnail is of a blue brain with a big yellow microchip. So let me go ahead and play it for you.
Hello, welcome back to Talk with Sharifa.
Y'all, the internet's moving slow, and I really don't want this video. It's already super long. I've actually decided to split it into two parts. So there's going to be the initial clip that I made last Wednesday that I'm going to make part one, and then all of these clips that I've made between yesterday and today I'm going to put together and make part two. But still, it's too long. So I'm going to stop here. Just know that's a video you can check out though, y'all. I believe I have this one in the description box and comment section as well. And it's titled Evidence of Mind Control Technology Used on Targets. So check it out, y'all. I have so much info on my channel about this technology. Patents for it, doctors that discuss it, you know, all this different evidence and research. So check it out, man. Just know that this really exists and you're not crazy if you're targeted and all these strange things are taking place. Anyways, I will talk to you all in the next one. Peace out. Y'all, there's one more thing I wanted to clarify, but do that real quick. I just listened to that whole second part video. I already had it uploaded. You can see that if you've seen it already, it's already gotten like 15 views or something like that. And I now have to take it down so I can add this clip. Excuse me, y'all, I need to blow my nose. I just got off work, y'all. As you can see up top, it's 6:37 a.m. So I'm tired and my nose is stuffed up. So I do apologize. But I just listened to the whole clip and I'm like, oh my gosh, it's not like it's super serious, but I wanted to correct this. When I was talking about the gym thing, I don't want it to be like, because I realized to somebody that didn't really understand the slang, that's the slang down here on island, it would sound like I was saying that the guy was saying that he beat girls. That's not what he said. I didn't use the island accent that he was using. But the reason I said I think he was talking about, you know, doing it with a lot of girls was because he was saying he done beat a lot of ting. And that's island terminology, which means like, you know, a guy done messed around with a lot of girls. And that's what he was saying, you know, and so I wanted to clarify what I meant when I said that, because I know to somebody that's not from here, that would be confusing. And that's why I said when he was saying that, you know, that's what I think he was insinuating, what he was talking about. He was talking about how he used to beat a lot of ting, a lot of girl, he used to beat a lot of ting. That's what he was saying. The next thing I wanted to clarify was when I was talking about the dark skin Rasta that he was talking to. And I was saying I didn't recognize, I didn't look at his face good when he came in because I try not to look at people too hard. But I wasn't sure if he was a dark skin Rasta I had worked out with before. I'm not talking about the one that I see in there all the time with the glasses. I'm talking about another one that comes in there sporadically, that I was confusing him with. And then when he came and spoke to me and I saw his face, I realized it was someone completely different. But I know that one with the glasses. I know his face well because I've worked out with him many times. But I needed to clarify that because I did also kind of mention something with that guy a long time ago. Not a long time ago. It's like 2 months ago. And I took the video down. I didn't even bother to keep it up. But I just wanted to clarify. There's so many. This is why I'm telling you. There are several dudes that come in there that have a similar look. And so that's why I felt like I needed to clarify because I'm making these videos. Everything I'm saying is going viral. And I just have to be careful with the things I say. I keep making more and more enemies. So I just had to clarify those two things. Anyway, talk to y'all in the next one. I'm going to have to take the video down. So if you saw it already and then you see it's posted again and it looks a little bit longer, that's why I added this clip on. And I took the video down, added this clip on, and re-uploaded it. Anyway, talk to you in the next one. Peace out. Y'all, I know it seems like I keep adding on. It's like the video that never ends, but this is the last thing I wanted to add on. The problem is that I've made this video over the course of the last couple of days. This part 2 at least. The part 1, shoot, I made a whole week ago, last Wednesday, like I told you all. But that's what the problem is. I'm making it at different times and I'm remembering things that I didn't say, or I'm listening back to the clip and realizing I said things in the wrong way, etc. But this is the last thing for real. As it pertains to that guy, the short guy that came in that was doing the directed convo, the last thing that he said, and that was right before I thought the nasty thought about him, was something about the key, a key that was missing that he was looking for. That's major sensitization and stimuli for me. That was when I absolutely knew that it was gang stalking. I mean, I already knew from the time he said age 13 and started talking about the hair underneath the cap thing, you know, because of what had happened, like I told you all the night prior, where I went out and my hair was unkept underneath the stocking cap and underneath my hat. But then I still hadn't reacted even when he was saying all of that. But I was definitely at that point catching on to the fact that it was directed convo. And I started to kind of suss out the situation. That was when I was kind of looking at who was speaking. But it was when he said the key thing. That was the last thing he said. That was like the last straw. And that was when I thought the nasty thought about him. And I forgot to add that into the convo. All right, that's it, y'all. Talk to you in the next one. Peace out. And that's annoying too, because as you can see, this is added on now after I already talked about that incident. And now I just showed you all another piece to earlier in the clip where I was talking about the neuromonitoring technology. I just showed you all that article that I had already showed earlier in the clip. And now I'm like, it seems revisiting what I talked about prior to showing you that article, which was the gym thing. So it's like this is some patchwork here, this video, but y'all get the point. You know, it's even though it's disorganized, it makes sense. So I'll talk to y'all in the next one. Peace out.